boots, and even your sneakers hurt? And are you starting to wonder, isn't there any shoe out there that'll get rid of my foot pain? Maybe you don't need a better shoe. Maybe you need better support in your shoes. That's where the Good Feet store can help.
When I went to the doctor and got diagnosed with plantar fasciitis, he told me that I could only wear sneakers. So there went all my summer collection of shoes and all my dress shoes I couldn't wear. It was just too painful, too much foot pain every day. I wanted to take off my shoes as soon as I got home every day, but as soon as I got my arch supports from the Good Feet store, I have no foot pain whatsoever, and I can wear any dress shoe that I want.
Book an appointment for your free fitting at goodfeet.com. Don't just live with pain. Come see us at the Good Feet store and see how we can help. Come in today. We're located in Avon at 25 Climax Road across from Whole Foods. Good Feet arch supports are HSA and FSA eligible. Book an appointment for your free fitting at goodfeet.com or just stop in. Walk-ins are welcome.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
It don't matter about whether you like him or not. It matters about his policies, and people's not doing good out there with the Democrats. And I feel like this year it's time to make a statement with Trump.
Yeah. It's time to make a statement with Trump, they're saying. It's all over the place. Oh, Jesus, goodness gracious. Happy Labor Day to every one of you, all of you wonderful folks out there. How y'all doing? It's Reese on the Radio, NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. I told you, bring us on over to the cookout, the family gathering, the, picnic, whatever it is you got going on. We can join you there. And I told you, we're great with parties. Share the Reese on the Radio program with your friends. That's what other way to show your love to your friends and family by introducing them to the Reese on the Radio rundown. Anyway, we got plenty of news and plenty of views to get into today. Of course, I want to talk a little bit about Labor Day. Me on a personal level, folks, I got to tell you this. I don't remember ever going, maybe when I was a child, but I don't remember that all too often. I don't remember once going to a Labor Day cookout when I was younger. Like, it wasn't something I recognized as I can remember Thanksgiving dinners, Christmas dinners, 4th of July events, even Memorial Day events. But Labor Day was just one of those things I just never did. And when I was of working age, I never took a day off on Labor Day. And maybe it's because the jobs that I had, or, maybe I was on the lower rung of the employment pyramid. So I was at the bottom. So, of course, I was one of those people that always had to work on Labor Day, while the people who had far more tenure than I did could get the day off. And I always wondered what those people did with those days. What did you really do? Did you really just sit around and watch college football? Or maybe did some chores around the home? Lord knows I'm looking at the front of my yard. It's looking a little raggedy. I should get to it, but I can't, unfortunately, today, because every moment, with the exception of this show today, I have to spend celebrating my wife Roseanne's birthday today. And unlike unlike other people, my wife is not shy. She is not shy about telling everybody that she is 40. No, I'm kidding. She's a little older than that. But I bought her a tiara to put on her head. And I took her out to breakfast this morning. And she sat next to a young lady while we waited for our table. And a woman looked at her and she says, "Is it your birthday today?" My wife says, sheepishly, yes, it is. And I looked at the woman. I said, "How the hell did you know it was her birthday?" She goes, "She's wearing a tiara." A grown woman with a tiara. It must be her birthday. And she didn't. And I was at first thinking that the woman was mocking her. But no, the woman was recognizing her royalty, was recognizing the exalted one had come to celebrate her birthday with the rest of the people of the world. But my wife it's funny because somebody said to me, it's like, "Oh, that's so sweet, you recognizing your queen." And my wife was quick to correct them and say, No. I am a princess. Queens have responsibility. I want none of that. I want none of that responsibility. I am a princess. No responsibility for me. I just want the royalty, which she gets all day today. I've got a great day or great evening planned for her today. And I'm hoping that she likes it. I kind of gave a little bit of a window into what we were doing, and it didn't seem like she was all that interested, but I'm hoping that in reality, when I actually execute the birthday plan, it comes off without a hitch and she ends up enjoying it anyway. Michael A., yes, laboring on Labor Day. That's exactly what I do. Hello, L.A., all the way in Cleveland. Folks, if you'd like to join us as well, please go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. Just ReeseOnTheRadio.com. You can watch my melodious voice on the air, and you can join us in the chat room on Facebook and on Twitter and or X, as you like to call it, and on Rumble. Talking about plenty of things today. I had a monologue planned, which I will probably do later, because it has something to do with the monologue you heard at the top of the show about, you're not picking your boyfriend. It's not all about that stuff with the election, but we'll get into that in a minute. And of course, your phone calls, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. We won't do a 5 o'clock focus, but we'll spend the day. Tell me what you're doing for Labor Day, even if you are indeed laboring on Labor Day. I'd like to hear from you as well. I wanted to start today on a somber note, but in a way, a celebration, if you will. Today, I found out that I lost two friends. One, a former colleague, and another one who was a huge supporter of Reese on the Radio for years. And I just found out that he passed away. The sad part about it is, and the part that's got me right at the edge, where you have to talk me off a cliff, is that both of these gentlemen who passed away were younger than me. I just turned 55, and I'm not going to lie. I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. I could do better. We can always do better, but I feel great. I'm not really skinny. I used to be very skinny as a kid, and that always used to they used to alarm me that I was very skinny. But now I'm 6'3", 225 pounds, to be honest. I'm hovering in that area. And to learn 2 days ago that a good friend of mine, a former colleague who used to work at the hip-hop station in New York, at Hot 97, we don't have to be shy, back at Hot 97, a Grammy Award-winning musical artist, rapper, radio host by the name of Fat Man Scoop. And Joey, you know Fat Man Scoop. Please tell me. I know you're old school hip-hop, so I know you know Fat Man Scoop, right?
Of course.
Okay. Now, Fat Man Scoop, you may know. Can you find that? It's called Be Faithful.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you play a little bit of that if you can find that real quick? For those of you who don't know who Fat Man Scoop is, you will recognize it because if you've been to a wedding, right? If you're of my age, me and Joey's age, in the mid-50s, you will remember this. You've been to a wedding lately. The DJ, if he's a good DJ, will play this song at the what's it? And it's sort of a call and response. It's the different one from Let Me Clear My Throat. That's a staple. Don't get me wrong. But this one became a new staple with Fat Man Scoop and Faith Adler. Here it is, right here. That's it right there. And that voice is iconic. We're talking, he's got a Grammy with Missy Elliott. He did a song with her. Again, he was featured in De La Soul's album. What is it? Stakes is High. He was the radio host for their fictional radio station called WRMS, if you're a De La Soul fan. So you recognize his voice. And he was a morning show host over at Hot, and then he did the overnight, and he's been back and forth, but he's kind of been a staple. He's one of the original hype men. Just goes out there, and that voice that you just heard is just synonymous with radio and hip-hop and music and all that stuff. And he collapsed in Hamden, Connecticut, of all places, at a concert there that, he was there performing and collapsed on stage. The video has gone viral. It was on the New York Post is where I saw it. And to learn, I've known him since, 2001 was when I met him officially and worked with him for about 2.5 years. And when I heard he had passed on Sunday, I was like, he's 53? I don't know. I made it about myself. I know I'm guilty. I am guilty. I called everybody I knew and I said, did you hear Fat Man Scoop? He was only 53. And I'm going, and my wife immediately is like, you're going to join the gym, aren't you? I'm like, no. I didn't go that. I was that way when George Michael passed away. My ex-wife had to talk me off that cliff too. She was like, well, you didn't use a large amount of drugs in your lifetime. I was like, oh, yeah, that's true. Okay. But Fat Man Scoop he wasn't the healthiest guy in the world, but at 53, you don't really think about it in that way until you see something like that happen. My other friend, Ed Hollingsworth, just passed away. I just found out on Facebook in the most bizarre way. His wife posted that she's having a celebration of his life coming up later on this month. He was 52. And again, another guy who did not look out of shape or anything like that had a stroke in his sleep at 52. And every day I'm going to be paranoid because I don't know if you guys remember last week I talked about this, and Joey, this will make you laugh. I'm one of these guys where I get something into my head and I hold on to it for the rest of the week. And I woke up in the middle of the night thinking about a snake being in the house, and I couldn't sleep for like 4 hours because I thought, what if there's a snake in the house? I had invented a snake in my house, and it was there. So
better
now,
than a snake on a plane.
Yeah, that's right, because you got nowhere to go. But I wake up that morning, and that's all I could think about, and it makes it difficult for me to sleep because once I put it in my head, that's it. It's over. Now every scenario. When I went out this morning to go do something at the office and I kiss my wife goodbye. I get in my car, and the first thing I say to myself is, oh my goodness, I'm leaving my wife on her birthday to go run some errands. What if I don't come back? I immediately start jinxing myself.
My gosh, you need a vacation.
Yeah, maybe I do need to take a day off. Can you believe that? Like, I immediately started saying to myself, what is that what if I kissed my wife on her birthday and I don't return home? That's immediately stuck in my head.
That's not even like a glass half empty, half full. You're like, what if I cut myself on the glass? Then I drop the glass on my toe. Now I got to get a tetanus shot. Like,
exactly.
Dude, drink the water.
Right. Like I said, every scenario. Now, here's the reason. You want to know why that happened? Here's why. I'll tell you exactly. And it was a segue into all of this. All of it segued. My wife and I, her first birthday, well, we've been together now 3 years, just over 3 years. June 15th is our, I guess, get-together anniversary. We first started dating. So 3 years ago, on June 9th, 2021, when we got together, that birthday, I took her to Luray Caverns. We stayed there. No, sorry. That night we were at her house. We had the birthday party at her home. That night there was a shootout at her apartment building, and her car and my van got shot. Another kid got shot in the shoulder, and she ended up applying pressure and helping the kid who ended up getting shot in the shoulder. That was the first birthday I spent with her in 2021. In 2022, you folks famously remember, I just started working here at WTIC, and the night of her birthday, our stepdaughter was at a shootout in Norfolk, Virginia on her birthday that night. So here it is, her third birthday, and well, now it's her fourth one that we've been together. All of a sudden, I'm walking out, and the first thing I'm saying to myself, oh, crap. She's got an addiction to shootings on her birthday. I'm immediately nervous because I don't want to go anywhere, but I have to go down to the office to go take care of some stuff. So the whole time I'm driving, I'm saying to myself, just be careful. Just keep your head on a swivel. You'll be fine. All of that stuff happened within a moment. Within one moment of thinking of Fat Man Scoop, Edward Hollingsworth, and my wife's birthday. And I'm thinking that all of this is happening on purpose. And I'm going, now that I'm even, and I'll tell you this, the best part about this, folks. This is the best part about this. If I didn't have the radio to vent this, I'd be I would be probably going insane. I would be spinning in circles. I would be hitting myself in the head with a hammer. That's how crazy I would be if I didn't vent this out. If I stuck this in my head, it would drive me nuts. It would be a cyclone inside my brain. That's why I'm so thankful for being here, and I'm thankful for work, because that's what I would do under the circumstances. When my brain goes nuts, I need work. I don't like days off for that reason. I cannot. You know the old saying that idle hands are the devil's playground? Well, idle brain for me is the devil's playground, because I can talk myself into anything, if I give myself an opportunity to. So I'm trying really well. And the place, and here's the other part, well, if it doesn't make it even crazier. So the place I'm taking my wife to actually involves heights. And so I'm a little concerned because I'm scared to death of heights. And so I'm already second-guessing myself on this thing now because it's making it worse. I'm keeping my voice down because she's not far away. So I'm just really, really concerned every single moment about something going wrong because I'm in that space now. I have to talk myself out of it. That's the reason why you are here. 860-522-WTIC. You can tell me how insane I am. Michael A. says, I was stacking firewood today. I came across a foot-long garden snake, picked it up, and showed it to my wife. I haven't seen her since. See, the fact that you can pick up a snake, I'm done. I saw a snake in the grass the other day, and I went nuts. I haven't been in the backyard since, and that was over 3 weeks ago. I still haven't cut the grass in the backyard. I haven't. I refuse to. I'm deathly afraid of them. For what reason, I don't know. But it's insane. But again, here I am taking the passing of these two gentlemen who I loved, cared about greatly. Immediately, I made it about myself, which is a bad thing. I know it's not even selfish. It's just it's navel gazing. I get it, but it's hard for you not to look at your own life when something like that happens. It's different when it's an incident, and you know what I mean. I don't want to use any terminology, but something like that happens when someone ends up passing away, be it a stroke or passing out in the way that these two gentlemen did. You immediately start. It's just, I guess it's a natural thing. I shouldn't feel that bad about it. It's natural for all of us to immediately look at ourselves and go, what are we doing? It's like that life insurance commercial where the guy is talking to his wife and they have a friend who just passed away, and then they start talking about life insurance, and then the wife goes, do we have life insurance? And he's like, no, we don't have life insurance. It was like, oh, we need to get on it. And the only reason why they're talking about life insurance is because their friend passed away. They don't even give a moment to mourn the death of the guy. They're immediately talking about their own health insurance. That's the way we work. That's the way we operate. So I shouldn't feel that bad, but I feel a little bad. I just got to get it together. I've been trying to eat healthier. I have been eating a lot of ice cream as of late, but I'm still at 225. I'm working it out. I'm working it out. All right, so anyway, we got plenty of news and plenty of views to get into. I've got to get into this thing that happened on Twitter, or X for that matter, that got a community note that involved Tim Walz, vice presidential candidate Tim Walz. People are trying to shoot back at the idea that Tim Walz shouldn't be criticized because of a misstatement that he made, or many people interpreted as a misstatement about his service in Afghanistan. We'll play the audio that's the part of the controversy, but the bigger controversy is about what he said about his grammar. I'll break all of that down to you as I usually do. It's a testament to what's wrong with this campaign, and we'll lay it all out for you. Also, I want to talk about this thing about people who are boring me about their morals when it comes to the presidential election. I'm seeing a lot of hypocrisy out there with people telling me that they morally cannot choose to elect Donald Trump or to vote for Donald Trump in November. And I'm going to break a little bit of that down in the next half hour and why I think that's nonsense and the hypocrisy of all of that. And, of course, don't forget, we're taking your phone calls and we are reading your comments in the chat room. You can go to reasonthenradio.com. You can join us on Facebook. You can join us on Twitter or X, and you can join us on Rumble as well. Just go to Reese on the Radio and just find it there, reasonthenradio.com. Mark C. says, you need to get your wife a bulletproof vest and a wand kit. She seems to attract bullets. I know. It's interesting that twice, and after it happened the second time, Mark, when the shooting happened with our stepdaughter, that sent her over the edge. She didn't want to have a birthday party after that.
We got a break.
She's like, I don't want to take another. I'm not taking another chance. Anyway, let's take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views when we return at the bottom of the hour. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Isn't it time you thought about
You're clear.
plan for
Thank you,
your
sir.
family? Estate planning attorneys help prioritize and carry out personalized.
Yeah, I don't know if he's ever done news for you, Dave Shapiro.
Oh, yeah, he did it for last Friday. He was great.
Okay, yeah. So I was in on Saturday afternoon when the news broke that Fat Man Scoop had passed away.
Yeah.
And it was great because, like, the next 4 hours of newscasts, he led with that story, every one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, our listeners probably have no idea who this man is.
But you know what? What was so interesting about that was that I knew it was going to lead every hour because it happened in Camden.
Yes.
In Hamden. I knew that was why.
I was like, our listeners are probably like, who's this person? Especially on like a Saturday afternoon.
Exactly.
We're finding games that other people aren't talking about. We're turning every Saturday and every Sunday into days where you got a chance to win. Don't just sit on the sidelines. Cash the ticket with us. Follow Cash the Ticket in the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jeffrey Bash, a spine surgeon here at Middlesex Health Center for Spine Surgery. By the time most patients come,
So yeah, you got me today and tomorrow.
Right.
And then Justin Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
experts
Okay.
in minimally invasive,
Yeah,
I know he
he
came
walked
in
with
a
us.
couple days with Roland last week.
Yeah, he got the feel of the
We'll help you
feel
find
of the
treatment
show.
that's
So
right for
he
you, so
he
you can
actually
get
sat
back to doing
sat
what you love
at the
faster.
desk for a little
To
while
learn
Roland
more about
watched.
why we're leaders in
Yeah, he's done it, but just he's never done this. He hasn't done this in a while.
Oh, okay.
But we're going down to Florida Wednesday morning for the week.
Where you going? What part?
Destin.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah, 'cause there's this Operation One Voice. They do an honor ride for military veterans and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So this year's ride is honor of my brother-in-law that passed last year.
Oh, wow.
So we're going down for that, and then Kimberly, his wife, is retiring from the board. So it's like a vacation, but it's more just to go down to be support and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you sort of blend the
Hi,
two.
I'm Ryan.
Yep.
Destin's beautiful, actually.
And we did.
That's what I hear, but I'm like, it's hot. I don't do heat. It's bad enough we have to. I know it sounds again like you were saying, sounds bad to say, but I'm like, it's bad enough we have to go visit them in Texas in the summer.
On this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be.
I'm like, I told everyone, I'm like, one of these years we're going vacationing in like the Upper Peninsula of Michigan in January. I'm like, I'm done with all this hot stuff. Y'all are coming to freeze with me.
Exactly.
With them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore.
We've done Florida, we've done Georgia, we've done Central Texas, we've done the Carolinas, all in like August, September.
Damn.
I'm like, I'm done with this.
With your family and manage the disease together.
Y'all going to Fargo with me in February.
How about seeing a doctor together? Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
It was funny, though. I was thinking the other day, I forgot to post this on Facebook. I was like, yes, I might drive a truck, but when you pull up to me, it's, hold on.
Tonight, Israeli Prime Minister.
Yes, I might have a truck and a beard and I camp, but when you pull up to me, the music's more of 86 Cadillac Eldorado with gold spoke rims.
This is Netanyahu faces nationwide protests calling for him to complete a deal that would release.
Well, you're never going to hear country music coming out of my truck.
That's right.
Hamas. The bodies of.
So I posted the other week when we went to go see Pink and Kid Cut Up was like the hype DJ.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I miss mix CDs. I miss going to Mixtape Kings and buying albums.
Very moving.
Wow.
They said that they hoped that after 330 days, that they hoped that Hirsch would come back alive, but he didn't.
That's why, like, Fat Man, I was like, oh, I'm a Fat Man Scoop. I was like, he was on so many mixtapes, is like you said, the hype guy.
Yeah.
Turning point to win the release of the remaining.
Kids listening to like some Green Lantern over the weekend.
Oh, no doubt.
Berger.
I'm like, you guys, this is
Scale rim and tire theft operation. Arrested today were 25-year-old Jorge Burgos and 37-year-old Ricardo Torres, both of Hartford. Police say they were found.
But you know how hard, like,
stealing.
I was talking with Matt like 2 weeks ago when we did the morning show about this. Do you know how hard it is to buy an actual music CD nowadays?
In Detroit.
Really? Yeah, I guess it is, right?
Everything's like, well, just stream it, pay for the subscription. I'm like, no, I want to buy a flipping CD.
Senator Chris.
Like, unless it's Taylor Swift because she sold at Target.
Right.
Labor Day.
But I'm like, I want to go buy the new Eminem album.
Virus known as.
Figure out how to do that.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult.
Like, besides going on Amazon, and they even vary buying audio CDs. I'm like, no, I want to buy a CD. I'm going to rip it anyway, but like, I want to buy a damn CD.
Damn.
That have come down with this Orokush virus.
There are no vaccines or medications, so as with West Nile and Tripoli, people are being reminded use bug repellent and cover up when outside. Avoid being outdoors at dusk and dawn. And we check the WTIC forecast.
For the rest of our Labor Day afternoon, it'll be mostly sunny, breezy, less humid, the high of 79. And as we head through tonight, well, it'll be clear and cooler. Good weather for sleeping with the low down to 51. Tuesday, sunny and nice, a gorgeous day to be outdoors. Just don't forget sunscreen, the high of 75. Another sunny and very pleasant day on Wednesday, the high up to 79 on Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
77 now in Hartford. Sports, Red Sox and New York Mets. Pregame at 6:10 in WTIC. Yankees in Texas. U.S. Open, the fourth round. American Jessica Pegula of Buffalo, New York, straight set winner. For more, check out WTIC.com. I'm Dave Maker, WTIC 1080 News.
You might wonder, John Legend?
Yeah, so like on Amazon right now.
Legend.
But to buy the new Eminem album, I wouldn't see it till September 16th.
You gotta be kidding me.
No. Like, I just want to go to the store and buy a flipping CD.
Wow. Shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both is recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your...
We got some calls. I'll throw them in the chat.
You got it.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Did you know that 9 out of 10 customers would recommend AAA insurance to a friend? 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 people don't even like Philly cheesesteaks. More loved than the most loved sandwich in the city of brotherly love? Does that make us siblings? Well, we do treat our customers like family. Legendary service and superior coverage from AAA Insurance. Something 9 out of 10 people would recommend. Find out why at
We don't have any traffic today.
AAA.com/insurance and get a quote.
That is correct.
Okay.
Customer survey. Insurance provided by CSAA Insurance. Did you know that 9 out of 10 customers would recommend AAA insurance to a friend? That's higher than the percentage of people that love sunsets. Yeah, the thing's so majestic that the last time you saw one, you posted 25 blurry photos of it online. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll have weather, but no traffic.
Okay.
It's about heart. Legendary service and superior coverage with
Are we
AAA
doing that at,
insurance.
what is that,
Something 9 out
58?
of 10 people would recommend. Find out why and get...
So we can do weather at like 59.
Okay.
So delay everything like a minute.
Insurance provided by
All right,
CSA.
but we don't have to do
If you're still
we don't have to
waiting
do
for
the
a
8th
sign,
then
here's
anymore, right?
another one.
No, not really.
Okay.
We reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work for us, so we only connect you with the best. That's how we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Dramatic sound effect incoming. Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad.
There we go.
The law firm of Brown, Panderas, and Scott wish you a safe and happy Labor Day weekend.
Hey now, we are back. It's Reese on the Radio, NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Your place for Labor Day, Reese on the Radio. You can always, again, join us at reeseontheradio.com. Join in the conversation if you don't want to call in or you're hanging out with your friends. Or if your wife doesn't want you on the phone while, the family's over. And so you could get if you go online, you can just, quick text like, hey, Reese, I'm here. Just want to let you know I'm hanging out. Send it over to reeseontheradio.com. Let's get to the phones, and then later I will get into my monologue about this whole thing with Donald Trump. You'll enjoy it, I promise. 860-522-WTIC. Matt is in Bristol. Hello, my good friend. How are you?
Hello, Mr. Hopkins. How are you doing?
Pretty good, sir. Happy Labor Day to you, sir.
You too. First of all, let me give you my condolences for your friend.
Yes, thank you.
Second of all, thank you so much for being on the air on Labor Day, especially on your wife's birthday. I've been working all weekend, including today.
Uh-huh.
And, man, when I heard that there was going to be a live show, not the best of, whew, I was excited.
I don't, you know what? It's funny because I like the best of. When I started in radio, I thought the best of process was great because I used to work with the producers to put them together. And they were like, okay, what about this show? What about that show? And then I would listen in at home and sort of reminisce. But then when I actually had to sit in and somebody told me, hey, we're going to do a best of for you, I was like, can't I just work? I don't really want to do the best of. I can just do a live show. It's okay. They were like, no, you have to take the day off. And it used to drive me nuts because it was like, no, I'm not a day off guy. I'm just not.
The best of works in a lot of formats, but with politics, it's tough because
yes,
yesterday's news is yesterday's news. No matter how you rewrap it.
It's so true. I listened to a morning show earlier today on another network. I was on my, on the apps, listening to what they were playing just to see. And someone was talking about the CNN interview. So it was obviously Friday's show. And I was like, there's so much that's happened since then. And
I know. It happened so fast.
Right. So, yeah, I totally get it.
Do you have time for one bad joke that I can clean up for the air or no?
Well, I got a couple of people online, but I promise you if I have time, call on back and I promise you I'll let at least you end the show with it.
Okay.
You got it.
Bye-bye.
Let's go to Fritz. Fritz is in Berlin. Fritz the cat. What's up, big guy? How are you?
Hey, can you copy me okay? I'm on speakerphone.
I can hear you perfect.
Hey, man, I was just listening to the commercials that were leading up to the last caller.
Yes.
And I'm sorry that I didn't know you had somebody close to you pass away, so my condolences. I had
Thank
no
you.
idea.
Two people,
I was
actually.
busy doing urban exploring, and I was taking pictures and video. But in the last commercial, I heard somebody in a Pfizer commercial with a black man acting really dumb and an old lady telling him you should get the vaccination.
Oh, that was John Legend.
I had somebody on Twitter tell me that you're a DEI hire. Can you imagine that?
Wait a minute. Somebody said
Not
I was a
because they're
DEI
intelligent,
hire?
but because they're just stupid.
Wait. Fritz, somebody said that I was a DEI hire?
Yeah. but
Okay,
not
let
for-
me
not for
clear
your
that. Let me
skills.
clear this up. I was definitely not a DEI hire. In fact, I'm positive that Janine and the rest of the brass at WTIC thought I was white.
I need it. I just want to make sure that got cleared up really quick. And
Most
here's
people
what I
think
really
I'm
wanted
white,
to
so I'm not a DEI hire.
Here's what I wanted to talk about, okay?
Yes.
The New Britain B Bridge.
Yes.
Cost $7.4 million to make a bridge across 72 in New Britain.
Uh-huh.
They made it. They put a couple B's on the edge of it. They didn't get the windows right. They're not hexagons. Think about that for a second. The B Bridge, it's not hexagonal.
Oh, okay. So the B Bridge is not the letter B. It's B as in bees.
Beehives.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so
That's interesting.
all the windows are triangles. They're not hexagons.
That's interesting.
And we paid $7.4 million of taxpayers' money to make a B frame. It's not correct.
Do you think the contractor didn't know what they were doing? Or didn't know what a beehive was?
I guess not. I mean, I raised bees. I have them here at the house.
I know. I see you
most people
online.
realize that whether it's a bee or a hornet or any kind of a bee or wasp, they all make hexagonal hive brood. So what is wrong with people?
That's an interesting
people
thing to
just
notice.
stupid?
You'd have to, you know what? We should find out who made the bridge, who's responsible for the bridge, and why they decided otherwise. It may have been it either could have been a design flaw or a design that they couldn't do. Like in essence, they found out that it actually didn't work operationally in that way. But nonetheless, if you can't do exactly what it's intended to do, or at least to resemble what it's supposed to resemble, you should probably find another name for it. But that's a good point, Fritz. Thank you, man.
Mark from West Hartford was kind of following that story as they built the bridge, and he was screaming and yelling about the money they're wasting on it and having all this extra money and where is it going and why does it cost $7.4 million?
That's a lot of
and
money.
then some smart people come along, like, I'm not saying I'm smart, but I raise bees, and I'm like, those are not hexagons.
I'm not going to lie. That's an embarrassing. That's an embarrassment of riches for someone to just walk by and say, hey, that's not what a beehive looks like for them. Because you'd have to ask the question, who's responsible for this? Mark should continue to get to the bottom of that to find out exactly who's responsible. And Michael A. in the chat room says, now it's going to cost another $5 million to fix it. That's probably
$10 million to fix it because they'll have to tear it down.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Fritz.
All right, Reese, I'll let you go, buddy.
You got it, buddy. Let's go to Fred in Middletown. Hello, Fred. You're on Reese on the Radio.
Hey, I'm pretty sure I know the joke you've got coming later. But so real quick, that thing about the shootings on your wife's birthday.
Yeah.
So we're familiar with the term an earworm, a song that gets in your head
Sure.
or something. So you've got a thought worm going there, man.
Yeah.
That is just thought as your enemy. Yeah, I mean, thoughts come unbidden into our head. They are not ours. You need some mind work, some Buddhist meditation. The two dead friends.
Yes.
First thing that comes to my mind is sad, sudden adult death syndrome, which is kind of a post-jab thing. I'll bet the one performer was jabbed for sure. I think it's hard to perform. Who was it? Nicki Minaj, who spoke out against it. She said, I'll probably get it because I want to perform.
I wanted to stay away from Fred. I'll be honest with you. You're right. No, not now. I'm talking about I wanted to stay away from that theory when I saw the video. When I saw the video of Fat Man Scoop, if you go to the New York Post, they have the video online and they have a warning if about watching the video.
It's graphic.
So it's pretty. Well, it's graphic because you see him walk behind the table and he collapses. He falls so hard and his weight is so massive that the gentleman he's standing next to, he pushes but from behind the counter. That's the way he falls. He falls so fast and so hard. The gentleman in the red shirt next to him literally is pushed aside. So it's very dramatic. And in my head, I immediately went through, would Scoop have taken the vaccine? But then I said, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. Don't think about that. Don't think about that. And there hasn't been any announcement on that, and I didn't want to go there because I kind of felt like I didn't want to sully it in that way. I was already mourning the fact that he was gone, and I was so shocked. But you're right, some of that makes me very concerned because another person I know who was a little overweight also got the jab, and he ended up having a massive heart attack.
No one else is going to go there, and I don't blame you for not going there as a radio guy. But of course, the caller is going to go there.
Oh yeah.
There's a documentary called Died Suddenly. I had a friend who was talking about her concussion, and I said, "How'd you get a concussion?" Because I don't know. She woke up on the kitchen floor with a wound on her head and some scalp on the counter. You know, she had a died suddenly event, but came back from it.
Yeah.
And then my buddy of mine, 4 months after the shot, he died of something thrombosis in his sleep. 59 years old. He was strong as a bull. And when if you ever have Bob, what's in the name, Duff on, so
yes,
he took out his telescoping Ayn Rand club and presumed to try to fustigate you with it. A-Y-N, it's Ayn.
I know he kept calling her Anne Rand. Is that what he called her, Anne Rand? Yeah. I thought that was interesting that he brought her up, but I'm like, that's an interesting. That was an interesting way to deal with that conversation. Was to suggest that I was some Ayn Rand acolyte. I'm like, really? Like, so you don't serve the people, and government should not be serving their best interest? That's some sort of radical idea? I thought that was interesting. It's a good point, though, Fred. Thank you for bringing it up.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You got it. Let's go to Ralph in South Carolina. How we doing, sir?
Good, Reese. I hope you have a great Labor Day, and I've lost people. I've lost a brother at 49 and a good friend.
But isn't that shocking when it's that young in some ways? I mean, I know that happens, but when it's someone you know, you go 49. Oh, come on.
Well, when he had issues and my friend had issues, the ones that really get to are the ones that are perfect health and bang, they're gone.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are scary, but that happens. That's just, you have something inside that you're not aware of from your genes or whatever, and it happens. Reason I called, I have a couple of questions for you. First, like Facebook and TikTok and X, when people post stuff and they can't prove it or they figure it's not true, whatever, they kind of take it down?
Yeah.
Okay, now let me ask you why when Harris is running these ads about Trump that are not true, they are definitely not true. Trump has said so many times, and yet they run those ads without a problem.
You know what? I'm actually happy that Twitter is doing these community notes, which is something that Facebook said that they were going to do more of, at least at the time when they said they were doing more of. They were not doing it for places or for people like you suggest, making claims that are absolutely untrue when it comes to political ideology. And they would just let them ride, where at least in Twitter now we're seeing more community notes that are expressing from the actual users of Twitter that are telling people that this is untrue. In fact, in the next half hour, I'm going to talk about that when it comes to Tim Walz and the claims about him going to Afghanistan, because the community did get involved, but they're missing something that's even greater. But that's a great point. What was the next one, real quick?
Another real quick is what's going on in Israel now, talking about with Hamas. And the problem, at least in my mind, they give in to Hamas. They give them everything. You know what Hamas is going to say? Hey, let's grab more people.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed at the way in which Netanyahu is being attacked by not just the news media, but also these protesters, but it's par for the course. I think that this has turned into an untenable situation for him politically. But if I'm Benjamin Netanyahu, if this means my political career is over, then at this point, I say I got nothing to lose and I go full bore and get rid of Hamas. I mean, I'm just saying, if my tenure as the prime minister of Israel is over after this, at this point, just eradicate them. Because I don't think that we should be doing anything based on politics. I think it should be doing with ending them.
Common sense tells you if they get away with hostages and they get everything they want,
exactly,
what are they going to do? They're going to take more hostages.
Exactly. And I go, look, Netanyahu is never going to be able to change the minds of these people who are criticizing him. And he should not operate. He should not operate trying to cater to or acquiesce to the mob. He should be there to do what's important, and that is go after the people who are responsible for October 7th. That's the way I look at it. So I appreciate you, Ralph. I appreciate you, sir. Can we take Joe before we go to a break? Yeah,
we'll leave him after.
Okay, all right. Hold on, Joe. We'll be back with you in a second. We'll take a break. It's more news, more views when we return. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Men, low testosterone causes a host.
Mainly because I know sometimes if he gets going, at least now you have a reason to cut him off.
Workouts, decreased
Okay.
energy, brain fog, and more. But many men just attribute these symptoms to aging and don't consider that there are medical treatments that can give them back their vigor and vibrancy. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, and if you're feeling like I just described, it's time for you to treat that low T and change your life. At Northeast Men's Health, we're experts in treating low testosterone and other men's sexual health conditions. We've successfully treated thousands of men for low T and have seen the amazing difference that those treatments can make in a man's life. If you're feeling like the vast majority of men who are low T, within just a few weeks, you'll feel your energy return. That brain fog will go away. Your sleep will improve, as will your workouts, and your sex drive will be significantly enhanced as well. So make an appointment and make a true life change. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. We have 5 offices across the Northeast to serve you.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
I plan to rearrange my closet, but I stopped after picking the clothes up off the floor.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes
Hey,
a day,
Joey, I meant to
Babbel's
ask you something.
award-winning
You did
language
something
learning
that
app will help you
Roland
start
hasn't
speaking
been
another
able to
language.
do.
Start
Can you
having
explain to me how you
conversations
did
in
it?
as little as-
Oh, God. What was that?
Okay, so at the top of the hour, you did the monologue, right?
Yep.
So you played the monologue, and when the
Babbel's
monologue
bite-sized
ends, the
lessons
music
make it
came
easy to learn words
right
and
in.
phrases you'll
I mean,
actually
it was
use.
perfect.
So when someone asks,
It's like as soon as
"How's
the
your
audio
French going?"
ended,
you can say,
but Roland
Ma
says
bene,
when he
a
does
maison,
it,
fais
there's a
partie du
gap.
grand
There's a
nombre
reason
d'apprentissage
why
de nouvelles
it
langues.
has to be a
Et
gap
cela ne
because
prend
it doesn't
15
come in
minutes par jour.
immediately after. Is there a
He
reason?
probably plays them as separate audio files. I actually
Oh.
mix them into one.
Thank you. Okay, so what you just put them on one file
I just I just open up Adobe and mix them down to one track.
That
Start
okay.
learning a new language
It-
today.
okay,
That's
show him how to do
Babbel.com.
that. Because the gap almost sucks because it's almost like a second of dead air. It sounds weird, but it comes off.
No, I saw that in the files.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, he can also clean it up. There's no reason why he can't edit that. Just a little bit of silence out.
Yeah, just like because I want it to come in seamlessly. It's like right after the quote.
You and your family with
right afterwards. The way you did it was so perfect. I was like, that's what I wanted to sound like.
Investments. You can diversify your.
And he's the production guy.
I know, but
Economic
he said the way he was
turmoil.
doing it, he
Our team will
couldn't
guide you through the
get rid
process,
of that
ensuring
gap.
You make informed decisions.
Yeah, he probably just plays it off the email.
Oh, okay.
Today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Space may be the fun.
In a minute.
But it's also what a lot of us lack in our basement or garage. By switching to a Navien tankless water heater, not only will you have all the hot water you need whenever you need it, but you'll gain storage area as well. Maybe a place to display your space collectibles. Highly logical. Learn about Navien's series of high-efficiency tankless water heaters and how they don't just save space, but save dollars on your utility bills too. For more, go to tanklessmadesimple.com.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still...
Yeah, because there's no traffic at like 29 or 59.
Okay.
You can just throw it to the weather.
You got it.
I'll hit the sounder and play the taped weather.
Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear.
Jason
Brought to you by
Calorie.
AARP and the Ad Council.
The world is changing. Are you listening? WTIC. NewsTalk 1080.
Hey now, we are back. It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Back to the phones we go. Joe, thank you for holding on, Joe, in New Hampshire. How are you, sir?
Hi, Reverend Reese.
Hey, sir. All right, well, it's Monday. You got no stock to talk about.
Well, the Asian market and the European market were in full scale today. They don't celebrate Labor Day.
Yeah, I
over
know.
there, and the market was relatively calm. I don't see any indication there'll be a massive sell-off tomorrow like in 2008. It doesn't look that way, but
What if
we'll
we
see how
get
the week
nothing,
goes.
Joe? What if this election is almost being like it's weird that I'm saying this now, right? There was a time that I believed that the markets, maybe during Joe Biden, tenure, like Joe Biden's possible reelection campaign, that the markets might flux in some way. That if the polling data suggested Donald Trump was going to win, there might be a sort of shift. If Joe Biden looked good, that it would shift in the opposite direction. Maybe, we get this whole, recession talk again and all that other, the stock market would do something, wonky, so to speak. But now with Kamala Harris, I don't feel like the market is afraid of the likelihood that she's going to win. Am I going nuts in thinking that? Because there's a reason why I believe it. Because at least the only financial policy she's put forward has been panned and besmirched so effectively that I don't think anyone in the business world or in Wall Street is fearful of it, because it will never happen, so to speak. It's a pipe dream on her part. Joe?
Well,
oh, okay.
The hedge funds, the billionaires, the people that really control the market, they get advance notice in various ways as to how things are going to go.
Right.
And then if they have very little time, there's a crash. If they have time, they kind of domino it. They sell off in increments.
Right.
But I think a lot has to do with the debate that's coming up in a couple of weeks. How that goes. And there's also some talk that if things don't go well for Kamala Harris in the polling, say in 2 weeks, they may go after Biden again to give it all up and threaten him with the 25th and get her in as the actual president under the 25th Amendment. So she definitely can say she's the first woman president, et cetera, et cetera. There's some talk about that.
I've heard that rumbling as well. And again, I was one of the first people who talked about that. Why not? It would have been the perfect opportunity for Kamala Harris, if the polling looked bad, to give her the position now, right? And actually have her implement some of the things that she's talking about, because if she could get that done, she'd look great come election day.
Yeah, if that occurs, it would probably happen sometime in October.
Right.
As far as a timeline. A couple of things I wanted to run by. I'm going to be shooting this off to Corey Lewandowski probably tomorrow. The other thing that I want to get through before that, happy birthday to your wife.
Thank you.
She's very fortunate to have you. You're a rising upcoming star.
Thank you.
Just keep this in mind. You go national and become big, like I predict. She's not going to want to give up the fame like Joe Biden. And when you start getting dementia in 30 years, she's going to force you to stay on the air so she can keep that glory going for herself. What do you think of that?
Okay, first of all, you're 100% right. Two, don't you dare talk about my wife in such a way, sir. Even though you're absolutely right. I can't let you get into all of that, Joe. I gotta get out of here. But listen, I promise you tomorrow, because I think you're right about the debate. The debate. Well, first of all, the debate can't go wrong for her. She's got to at least come out fair, right? She's got to get no bump from it. If she comes out looking horrible, it's going to be, forget it, it's a mess. I think that the candidacy is over after September 10th.
Yeah, if you ever got interviewed as an upcoming conservative talk show radio host by CNN and Dana Bash, who would you bring along as your emotional crutch?
Probably no one.
Bring Frank from Woodbridge.
Yeah, there you go. I would definitely do that, sir. I would bring Frank from Woodbridge in.
He would steal the show. He'd become national too.
Thank you, sir. All right, I totally appreciate that. I'm going to tell my wife that you said that too. That if I thank you, and I appreciate the prediction. And your mouth to God's ears, or the folks at Odyssey, who are right up there with God. I'm kidding. Don't, the religious folks, don't come after me. The pious people, I'm just kidding. Don't go nuts. I'm just kidding. Anyway, we'll take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. Let's get into weather with Jason Caterina, who is, I'd like to say personally, is got to be one of the most astute music historians that people don't know about. So, Jason, I appreciate you with that weapon of choice comeback a couple of weeks ago.
Labor Day afternoon, mostly sunny.
All right, you're clear.
Thank you, sir.
Best day.
Thank you.
Weekend with
I'll say, you want me to send a copy of that to Roseanne, or?
Yes, please.
sleeping the low down to 51. Then Tuesday, sunny, nice, a gorgeous day to be outdoors. Just don't forget your sunscreen, a high 75. Another sunny and very pleasant day Wednesday, a little warmer. The high moving up to 79 on Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
This week at Stu Leonard's Farm Fresh Foods, direct from the Midwest, our mighty porterhouse steak just $9.99 a pound when you use the Stu Leonard's app. That's a total savings of $6 a pound. Plus local jumbo peaches, only $1.49 a pound, save $1.
WTIC is 99 and kicks off a year-long celebration to 100 years on the air. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
76 degrees, 4 o'clock. I'm Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News. Facing massive protests, the pressure is on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to cut a ceasefire deal, but he isn't budging. In a news conference, he said any deal to stop the war in Gaza must include an Israeli presence on the border with Egypt. The BBC's James Landale reports.
It was an extraordinary mixture of limited contrition with powerful defiance. Politically, there was not a scintilla of movement on his refusal to agree any kind of compromise with Hamas that might leave Israel no longer in military control of a buffer zone in the south of Gaza on the border with Egypt called the Philadelphia Corridor. That is his argument. It is not an argument shared by many figures in Israel's defense community. It is not an argument shared by many of those people protesting.
Do you eat corn nuts?
Biden says Netanyahu is not doing a ceasefire. The body.
I love them. I got some at the dollar store the other day. They're Mexican street corn style.
Thousands of workers.
Oh, really?
25
Yeah. Like my new addiction.
In Boston, they're seeking better wages and more from Marriott, Hilton, and Hyatt.
Labor Day is the celebration of the victories of working people in this country, whether that's the 8-hour day or health and safety at work. And these folks who are on strike today, these hardworking hotel workers, they're out there fighting that fight.
No one is crossing the lines. The annual Labor Day breakfast would usually take place inside the hotel. Instead, it's outside, underneath the tent.
Reporter Levin Reed, workers at the Hyatt Regency in Greenwich have been among those picketing. Vice President Harris on the Labor Day campaign trail. She appeared first in Detroit.
We fight for a future where every worker has the freedom to organize. And so when I am president, we will pass the PRO Act and end union busting once and for all.
She's now set to campaign with President Biden in Pittsburgh. Donald Trump with no campaign appearances today. Through midnight, Connecticut State Police continue their stepped-up Labor Day weekend enforcement. Up through midnight last night, troopers arrested 18 people for DUI, according to Sergeant Luke Davis.
The holiday weekend's not quite over yet, so we do encourage everybody, if they are going to be celebrate responsibly. Yeah. If you are going out, seeing friends, family, just make sure you have a plan in place ahead of time. Designated driver, using a ride-share program, or even just staying in place for that fact.
The sergeant heard on WTIC's Brian and Company. They've responded to more than 250 crashes, one of them deadly in Windsor. Hartford police say they broke up a large-scale rim and tire theft operation. Arrested today were 25-year-old Jorge Burgos and 37-year-old Ricardo Torres, both of Hartford. Police say they were caught in the act, jacking up a vehicle and stealing all 4 tires. More arrests are expected. Fans of the band Oasis got blocked by a Ticketmaster IT failure.
Oasis fans jammed Ticketmaster's website over the weekend to scoop up tickets for next year's newly announced reunion tour, only to be knocked out of the purchasing process after waiting in the queue for up to 10 hours. Many got error messages falsely accusing them of being bots. Some fans who did get through and purchased tickets to next summer's concerts in Europe for about $100 are now reselling them for more than $10,000. It'll be the first time the band, including the long-feuding Gallagher brothers, will perform together in 16 years. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
On the roads, trouble in Danbury. A crash between a tractor trailer and other cars on I-84 East between exits 5 and 7. The right and center lanes are closed. Again, that's 84 East in Danbury. Sports, Red Sox and Mets in New York, pregame at 6:10 on WTIC. Yankees in Texas. U.S. Open fourth round, American Jessica Pegula, straight set winner, and former champ Daniil Medvedev is about to close out Nuno Borges in straight sets. For more, check out WTIC.com. I'm Dave Maker, WTIC 1080 News.
Are you struggling with bad feet? Hi, this is Mike. And at the Good Feet store, we hear a lot about foot pain, but we also hear about back, knee, and hip pain. I'd like you to hear what Kelsey, a kinesiologist, has to say about the Good Feet arch support system.
As an exercise specialist, I've seen all kinds of things that people try to put in their shoes to get out of pain. What I really like about the Good Feet system is that they support all 4 arches in the foot.
So did you know you had 4 arches in each foot? Most shoes and inserts only support 1. And maybe that's the reason all those remedies you tried in the past just didn't work.
When the foot's placed in the ideal position, everything else up the kinetic chain works better. You have better balance, more energy. You're going to feel better. Being able to move freely and out of pain means everything to me. And good movement starts with the feet.
Come in today. We're located in Avon at 25 Climax Road across from Whole Foods. Good Feet arch supports are HSA and FSA eligible. Book an appointment for your free fitting at goodfeet.com or just stop in. Walk-ins are welcome.
La 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 la.
Oops. Ever had your singing lessons cut short by icy?
1 minute.
Sorry, honey. Say
All right,
goodbye
thank
to
you.
those cold notes with Navien tankless water heaters. With Navien, you'll hit all the right notes without the surprise chill. So keep singing and let Navien keep the hot water flowing. And get ready for the encore when you get your utility bill. Tankless water heaters. Visit tanklessmadesimple.com.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created This Is
Jason can't hear me, right?
Retirement.org.
Is
Because
he
unless
recorded?
You've already retired, you're in.
So he's on tape. I don't know who's doing it live.
Oh, okay.
Options.
Because it's like, yeah, they're not always the same people.
Time.
Oh, okay.
Visit This Is Pre-Retirement.
So if you want, you can just like throw it to a break, and I'll hit the weather sounder and bring them in.
Oh, okay. All right, good.
Feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Crappy radio signal? Then
there we go.
WTIC on the free Odyssey app.
Dancing on the dance floor. Girl, it's you that I adore.
Oh, you ain't even right.
Native tongue got rhymes galore. Fly buddy.
Now that is a song from back in the days, ladies and gentlemen. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. I love it when Joey's here. Listen, everybody behind the boards, from Matt to Joey to Roland, everybody behind the boards, they're just right in my wheelhouse. They get it. They understand. They're music guys. Matt is probably the only. Matt Soroyce is the only one that he and I are a little bit off because he tried to get me into Jelly Roll, and for some odd reason I just wasn't feeling it.
He's pushing it to everyone.
He is, right? I knew it wasn't just me.
I can't blame him on it. I get he's a good artist, but it's not my cup of tea.
It's not, and it was funny because I wanted to like Jelly Roll because I heard one song that made me think of Whitey Ford Sings the Blues, and that's Everlast.
Okay.
Do you remember that? And I heard one song that sounded like that, and I said, wow, he sounds like that. That would be a great sort of comeback to that sound. For those of you who remember, Everlast had an album that was really popular on the rock charts called What It's Like, and it was sort of like a hip-hoppy kind of bluesy country song. And Jelly Roll is in the essence of that, or at least I thought he was. But Jelly Roll's a completely different thing. And it's weird because, he appeals to Eminem fans at the same time. So it's always unique. But Matt still has a great sense of music that, again, that's probably more eclectic, but I think it's because he's a lot younger than I am. But everybody else, Roland understands the music that I like, and he can get a little off the wall of it. But Joey, whenever Joey's here, Joey knows exactly. He just knows it's something. It's instinctive. I almost feel like we were separated at birth, Joey. It's weird, but I love it. Anyway, it's Reese on the Radio, NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. I want to say this about this conversation that people are having about the election, who they're going to vote for, why they're going to vote for them. Look, of course, the people you're going to vote for are the people you're going to vote for. And your reasons are going to be your reasons. I'm not here to criticize you for your reasons.
It is Jason for weather.
Oh, we go to Jason Weather now. When we come back, I promise you, I'm going to explain to you what I have the biggest problem with, even though you, of course, have every right to make your decision. But we're going to go to Jason Catarina for weather. We'll be right back. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
WTIC weather.
All righty. Let's see. I've been listening to House of Pain lately, speaking of Everlast. I digress. This afternoon.
I love it.
Less humid. Do watch out. Later on in the week, downpours could impact plans for the upcoming weekend. But today, just beautiful out there. Then clear and cooler tonight. Great weather for sleeping. The low down 51 tonight. Sunny and nice for our Tuesday. Gorgeous day to be outdoors. Just don't forget your sunscreen. 75.
Hey, when we come back from the break,
sunny,
Joey.
pleasant,
Yep.
79.
Jump around
Thursday,
Pete Rock
mostly
version.
sunny, nice,
Okay.
77. Friday, we get clouds and sun, a couple of showers, but mainly early in the day, the high 76. And heading into the weekend, Saturday, periods of rain around the high of 77. Currently, let's see, Waterbury 73, Danbury 77. It's 78 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Most goals have a clear course, like planning a trip. But when it comes to losing 40 or 50 pounds, that's a different story. Except with Awaken 180, a clear course to fast, proven weight loss with free support for life. Awaken180weightloss.com.
The 1920s was a decade of firsts for WTIC. In March of 26, WTIC was the first station to originate remote broadcasts of live professional vaudevillians. Telephone lines from the Capitol Theater in Hartford caught the acts of Jack Benny, Edgar Bergen, Charlie McCarthy, and more before they were on network radio and became household names. In 27, WTIC was the first station to introduce a radio quiz show, Jack Says, Ask Me Another, hosted by Mark Hickey and sponsored by Jack the Tire Expert. In 28, we aired the first broadcast of the annual Yale-Harvard Regatta live from New London and fed the coverage to NBC. If you're wondering, Yale won the varsity, junior varsity, and freshman races.
Hi, Joel Johnson here with Johnson Brunetti. Taxes don't pay a nickel more than you're supposed to, especially getting close to
Chestnut
retirement or
beats
in retirement.
Kobayashi by
Call or
13
text
hot
the word
dogs.
taxes
Thanks, Fizzle Gig.
to request your
I
free
would have
copy
totally
of our
loved to
Tax
see
Explorer
that.
Guide, 1-800-705-1232. Call or text the word taxes, 1-800-705-1232. Don't pay an extra nickel in taxes.
Investment advisory services offered through JB Capital, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance products offered through JN Financial, LLC.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
I just have to make sure we jump in before the ain't no punk bitch.
Oh, no, yeah.
WTIC News Talk 1080, reporting on the local stories that affect you. From Manchester to Mystic, Hartford to Hampden, and Putnam to Plymouth, one radio station has your local news and breaking news as it happens. WTIC News Talk 1080. Listen on your radio, smart speaker.
Yeah, just started from the beginning. I'll come in and wait before then.
To the sound that pounds, I jump around. I'm no clown, I get down to the funk. Listen to the way out, step to the rear, dig.
And I'm here. The P to the E to the T-E, rocking the holes in your stockings. That's none other than Pete Rock's reproduction of Jump Around by House of Pain. That one is directly for Jason Catarina. I don't know if he knows that. He's got to know that version. If he likes House of Pain, he's got to know the Pete Rock version of the Jump Around song. That's my favorite. I listened to that over and over again. So, like I said before we went to weather. So again, I don't care what your reason is for voting. I just want honesty when you're having a conversation about why you're voting. Do it privately. You get into that booth on your own and you pull that lever or you fill it out on that, piece of paper, whatever the deal might be. But it's the conversation that I've absolutely got a problem with. And the people who are being very disingenuous about their position. What do I mean by that? If you don't like Donald Trump, fine, I get it. If you don't like Kamala Harris, fine, I get it. But when you're having a conversation with me, please just tell me why the person you like is the person you're voting for. That should be the conversation. Here, in fact, there used to be a conversation that went like that. And it's not since Ronald Reagan. I remember my mother telling me over and over again that she just hated Ronald Reagan, but she could never tell me why. And that I always found that alarming. And again, I'm 10 years old to listen to my mother just say, I just don't like him. And I'm just like, why? And she's like, I just don't. And I'm like, okay, you can't really question your mom because, my mom would have slapped you if you asked her too many questions. Who are you? She'd have popped you upside the head. But I would talk to other people, and they just didn't really have an answer. And as I went on in life, when I started to have conversations about politics, people used to, at least people that I trusted, would tell me why they voted for someone and why they were interested in that individual. I remember Paul Tsongas. Remember that? 1992? Does anybody remember that? Maybe people don't. But I had a good friend who was campaigning for Paul Tsongas. And this was a guy who used to hang out with us at Washington Square Park. And Tsongas gave a rally at Washington Square Park, and he was there, and he was all suited up. And this guy was kind of a hippie-looking guy. And he was part of the Tsongas campaign. And I remember him coming by telling me why I was like, wow, he was into politics for not, he was one of the first people I knew that got involved in campaigns. And he was a good kid. But he loved Paul Tsongas. But he could clearly explain why he voted for the guy. And I thought, wow, how refreshing. But now to hear people talk about politics, it's always about the other person, never about what they believe in the person they're voting for. Or another favorite one that I get is the lesser of two evils. So, if I may, I'm going to be a little judgmental here. For one, how intellectually lazy do you have to be to come at me with a lesser of two evils conversation? Stop. You look silly. You can say that amongst your other intellectually dishonest friends, but please spare me that nonsense. Okay? It's not the lesser of two evils. You haven't thought it through. Just say that. I haven't thought about it. I didn't really think about it. Or say something else, like, well, all of my friends are voting for Kamala, and, I don't want to be ostracized by them because they will disinvite you from the picnic. Just say that, or you don't like Donald Trump because, it's kind of the in thing to do to hate the guy. You could do that. All of your social media friends don't like Trump, so you don't either. I can go for that. But there's a couple of other things that I want to say. For starters, when you start putting standards on politicians you wouldn't put on yourself, you're a liar. You're a pathetic liar. And you know you're a pathetic liar. If you come at me and you talk to me about, that Donald Trump, he tells so many lies, you must be the most truthful person in the world. How often do you go around telling the truth about everything? Do you hold Donald Trump to a higher standard than you do yourself? How many lies have you soaked up in your life and allowed that person to continue to lie over and over again? Perhaps a husband or a lover. How much lying have you been able to soak in, suck up, and deal with, and still remain in that relationship, be it friend or otherwise? How high of a standard do you hold the lying in your daily life? But then all of a sudden, when politics roll around, that guy's a liar. Now you want to play the moral high ground. Please, spare me. I find that insulting on so many levels. It's ignorant on far more. I know you guys lie. We all lie. I try to be more truthful today than I was the day before. I tell my wife often she's not that much of a pain in the behind. I'm lying my behind off. My wife is a terror, especially when she wants what she wants. But guess what? I love her, and I'm willing to put up with her BS as often as I possibly could, because otherwise I would be signing my own death warrant. So do I fib a little when my wife knows that she's being overbearing and demanding? You're damn right I do. So I know that I have to lie. If my wife asks me, how was dinner? Do you know how difficult it is for me to tell my wife that dinner was awful? Oh, I've lied plenty of times. Or I'll go to my old standard. That was fine. By the way, that works well. That was fine. She doesn't ask a follow-up question. It's very difficult. My wife and I have been together for 3 years. She's been cooking for me for 2 years. I don't think I've complained about a meal twice. More than that. I just don't. You just don't. Some people know that and you lie to the people you love the most. So when you hear these people talking about lies, I always keep wondering, what are you talking about? Donald Trump lied. How effective was that lie to you? I mean, how effective was it that you've turned around and you said, I just can't vote for him. He just lies too much. Well, what was the lie? Well, he just lies all the time. You should be able to remember the lie. It's so detrimental. And if the lying is the thing that you cannot stand, please, please tell me how the other candidate is so honest. Tell me everything that they're saying is the truth. For fracking, against fracking. Huh? Against the wall, for the wall. They must be telling the truth, right? The standard of lying is so high. It's so important to your vote. Till it isn't, and it's usually all the time. Please stop. The worst part is that while you're telling me that lying is that one deal breaker, you're lying at the time. You're actually lying in the defense of lying. So I wish people would knock it off. Honestly, knock it off. Tim Walz is another example of that. Now, you've all heard people getting really, really upset about this particular piece of audio. Tim Walz on a congressional delegation to Afghanistan. People are saying that this is Tim Walz lying about his stint in Afghanistan, one that he never took. Here it is, so you can listen for yourself.
When I talk to my constituents in southern Minnesota, I don't care if they're Republican, Independent, Democrat, it doesn't matter to them. When I tell them, when I was in Afghanistan, you know what our troops were worried about? They were worried about their families' health care, and they were worried about their pensions.
He said when I was in Afghanistan. What he was talking about, he was there on a congressional delegation. So people were, look at them, they're lying about him. They're lying about him, saying that he said he was in Afghanistan when he wasn't talking about being deployed to Afghanistan. He was just there on a congressional delegation. Fine. Fine. You're 100% right. Everyone who posted it was wrong for doing it. Everyone who said that that audio was something else is wrong for doing it. But you got to ask yourself a question, folks. If it's all about lying, wasn't this a lie? It's got to be.
Did you misspeak, as the campaign has said?
Yeah, I said we were talking about, in this case, this was after a school shooting, the ideas of carrying these weapons of war. And my wife, the English teacher, told me my grammar is not always correct.
My grammar is not always correct. What is he talking about? He's talking about this.
We can make sure we don't have reciprocal carry among states, and we can make sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at.
That I carried in war. He's saying that he misspoke, that his grammar is not always good. Well, what about when the grammar isn't his? Here he is on C-SPAN.
I also spent 24 years in the military in the National Guard. I retired as a command sergeant major. I purposely stayed in the enlisted ranks because those of us in the military, those of you who served, know that thank you. That's where the work got done. I was honored to be deployed in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, the war in Afghanistan.
How about this one? Someone speaking on his behalf.
Congressman Tim Waltz, also a member of the Armed Services Committee and Veterans Affairs, Democrat of Minnesota, highest-ranking enlisted soldier ever to serve in Congress, enlisted in the Army National Guard at 17 and retired 24 years later as Command Sergeant Major and served with his battalion at Operating Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan.
Did he correct the record? No, here's more of that audio.
And I read that because I want to preface our discussion with...
Did not correct it. So if we're really talking about the lies, ladies and gentlemen, the lies, let's be honest about the lies that, you hold in such high regard. There's going to be a debate coming up, one for president, one for vice president. Now, I know you're all going to be on social media talking, but Trump lied so much. Let's just try to be honest. How about not lie about lying? That's all. Just don't lie about lying. If it really means that much to you, if lying is the reason why you can't vote for someone, Kamala Harris, you can't vote for either. You just can't. She plans on banning fracking. She said she won't do it. Is she lying? You can say she changed her position. She said her values have not changed. That, to me, is code for, I'm going to tell you that I'm not going to ban fracking, but my values have not changed, and we're going to ban fracking. You elect me. How about reparations? When she was on the campaign trail, and she went to old Al Shifty Sharpton's National Action Network that gets no action, does no action, actionless, where she said that she would sign a bill for reparations if it came across her desk. Huh? Was she lying then? Or was she telling the truth? Just tell me. If lying is the criteria, all lying should matter. Or maybe the truth is you don't really care. Or, far worse, you're lying. And it's okay. We all do it. We all do it. I'm not giving you license to do it, but please just stop boring me. Please stop boring me with your morals. You're better than that. Aren't you? That's what you keep telling us. You're better than that. So be better. We'll take a break. We'll take your phone calls. Much more on this, and I've got so much more audio. I've got to talk about George Clooney. Ooh, talk about Hollywood fantasy. Wait until you hear this. We got all that and more. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
The days are shorter and the temperature is starting to drop.
You're clear, sir.
Local weather information you need is here.
I'll run this right into the weather.
You got it.
Talk 1080, accurate local weather information with Bob Cox and the WTIC weather team. Weekday mornings and afternoons on the 8th and around the clock. The local fall weather information you need is on WTIC News Talk 1080. Listen on your radio, your smart speaker, or on the free Odyssey app.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jeffrey Bash, a spine surgeon here at Middlesex Health Center for Spine Surgery. By the time most patients come to us, they've typically suffered for years from back pain, difficulty walking, or numbness. And while we're experts in minimally invasive, robotic-assisted spine surgeries, we always try to exhaust all non-surgical options first. We'll help you find the treatment that's right for you so you can get back to doing what you love faster. To learn more about why we're leaders in
Don't worry, Jody. I will read your comments on air. Thank you. And if you want to try again, you can.
For the rest of our Labor Day afternoon, it'll be mostly sunny, breezy, and less humid. A beautiful day, the high of 79. Now tonight, under clear skies, it'll be cooler. Good weather for sleeping with the low down to 51. Then Tuesday, a beautiful day to be outdoors. Lots of sunshine. Don't forget your sunscreen. Comfortable with that high of 75 and a light breeze out of the north-northwest. Clear and quite cool for Tuesday night. The low down to 49. Now Wednesday, another sunny and very pleasant day. A little warmer, the high moving up to 79 with a nice breeze out of the south. Thursday, mostly sunny. Gorgeous weather continues, the high of 77. A mix of clouds and sun Friday to round out the week. Now, there will be a couple of showers around, but mainly early in the day, the high 76. Saturday, though, periods of rain, the high of 77. Maybe a little rain or drizzle in the morning Sunday, otherwise mostly cloudy, the high 72. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Experience relief from oral inflammation and infection at Columbia Dental. Led by Dr. Mohammadi, our practice operates 7 days a week with extended hours, dedicated to restoring peace and comfort to your smile. Visit ColumbiaDental.com.
The Red Sox make their way into New York to face the New York Mets.
That ball is driven back to right field. Way back.
The Red Sox try to shut down Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo, and the Mets. It's a 6:10 start tonight, right here on WTIC News Talk 1080. And now, a WTIC News Update.
76 degrees at 4:30. I'm Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News. Vice President Harris on the Labor Day campaign trail. She appeared in Detroit. One of the topics, the program known as Obamacare.
When I am president, we will continue to strengthen the Affordable Care Act. We will bring down the cost of prescription drugs, not only for some, but for all Americans.
Donald Trump has called Obamacare a catastrophe. Trump plans no campaign appearances today. Harris will soon campaign with President Biden in Pittsburgh. Governor Lamont took part in this morning's Labor Day parade in Newtown, as did Democrats running for re-election, Senator Chris Murphy and Congresswoman Johanna Hayes. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he'll continue to insist on maintaining a presence along Gaza's border with Egypt as part of any ceasefire deal. He's facing massive protests from Israelis, calling for a ceasefire and the return of more than 100 hostages being held by Hamas. CBS's Robert Berger reports.
Netanyahu has a dilemma. You know, he wants to bring the hostages home, but the far right-wing ministers in his cabinet have threatened to topple the government if he goes ahead with this deal to stop the war. So Netanyahu is a political survivor, and he is trying to maintain his grip on power by resisting this pressure.
President Biden says Netanyahu is not doing enough to reach a ceasefire. The bodies of 6 murdered hostages were recovered over the weekend, including that of American Hirsch Goldberg, Poland. An after-midnight dispute led to a shooting near a Waterbury nightclub. Police say a 24-year-old man is in critical but stable condition. After he was shot, 30-year-old Edwin Hernandez Vasquez crashed his car on I-84 and was taken into custody by state police. He was found with a ghost gun. Charges include illegal gun possession. He's being held on $1.5 million bond. In sports, the Red Sox and Mets in New York pregame at 6:10 on WTIC. Yankees in Texas. U.S. Open 4th round, American Jessica Pegula and former champ Daniil Medvedev are straight set winners. In a traffic update, that crash in Danbury involving a tractor trailer. It's on 84 eastbound between exits 5 and 7. The right and center lanes are closed. That's 84 in Danbury eastbound. For more, check out WTIC.com. I'm Dave Mager. WTIC 1080 News.
Hi, I'm Joe with SimpleSaleUSA.com, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 203-896-4000. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and more importantly, anywhere in Connecticut. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and even foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 203-896-4000. That's 203-896-4000. 203-896-4000.
The law firm of Brown, Panderas, and Scott wish you a safe and happy Labor Day weekend.
Back in 1 minute.
This is the real deal.
Okay.
They helped me out, totally changed my attitude, totally got me psyched to start my business and to take a new path in my life.
At California Psychics, we only connect our customers with the best. We reject 98% of the psychics who apply to us, so we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
We're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change.
Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
We are back.
Candyman, tell him the truth.
Oh.
Still end up knocking the boots.
This was such a horrible song. Every girl I knew loved this song, though. What happened?
Oh, I had this on vinyl.
Did you really?
Yep.
This was when you bought vinyl. Like
Yep.
I don't remember a time
There
I
were
ever.
certain albums I had them on cassette. I had them on vinyl. This was one of the ones I had on both.
Wow. This was
Back when music stores existed, but don't get me up on that soapbox.
Yeah, exactly. Listen to me. I spent afternoons at Tower Records. That was my thing.
Strawberries we had here in Bristol.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's a long
I think
time
I still
ago.
owe Columbia House Records $37.50 probably.
I probably do too. I hope that whatever that crediting system is, I hope it's crashed since then. Like whoever the data entry guy was bringing that stuff, just forget my name, buddy.
Yeah, someone took his red stapler and left.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Back to the phones we go. Let's go to George in St. Louis. Hello, George. You're on Reese on the Radio. How are you,
George
sir?
left.
Oh, George left. I'm sorry. We got Adam. Let's go to Adam. Hey, Adam. Adam's in East Hartford. How are you, sir?
Chase, to congratulate you on turning 55. Great job, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated.
What do you think about the lies? I won't keep you long. Other callers are coming up with the
Sure.
Kamal with the border. That's a crock of
Yep.
feces. And then also, remember when Joe Biden, talks about the conservative Republicans who freed the slave, Abraham Lincoln, and he goes up there in front of the audience and says they're going to put you all back in chains.
I couldn't believe he said it. In fact, I've got Charlie Rangel, an audio of Charlie Rangel, former congressman of New York, who responded to that by he couldn't even bring his mouth to say that it was absolutely unheard of to make a comment like that. It was just it was ridiculous. And he should have always, Joe Biden has had 3 very prominent statements in public that involved African Americans that people have given him a pass on. And to name one was that put y'all back in chains, talking about Mitt Romney at the NAACP annual national dinner. The clean and articulate comment that he made about Barack Obama. And I'm thinking about that, just so funny to even think about that. The racial jungle comment that he made about segregation, about desegregation, that one has always baffled me that he got away with that and no one ever seems to. And now I said 3, but I forget the 4th one, because the one that I think that's the most evident is to Charlemagne the God. If you're having a hard time deciding whether or not to vote for me or Donald Trump, then you ain't black. And it wasn't a joke. He says that he was joking, but you watch that video, there was nothing about it that was tongue-in-cheek. He said it angrily to African Americans, and it was unheard of. And I look at those things where people have talked about suggestions or innuendo of racism when talking about Donald Trump. But here's a guy who's got 4 blatant comments coming out of his mouth that people just wash over and go, he meant this. It's kind of amazing to watch.
Should I say unbelievable or believable?
Yeah, I guess so. Right. Yeah. I guess it is believable. But you know what? I was just telling my mother-in-law the other day, yesterday, I said, if it wasn't for double standards, the left would have no standards at all.
Pretty good. Hey, again, congratulations on turning 55. You're a great man.
Thank you, Adam. I much appreciate it. Let's go to Kim. Hello, Kim.
Hello, Reese. Thank you for having me on.
Always my pleasure.
Been a while.
I know.
So you were asking for callers to call in to tell you not who you're voting for, but why you're voting for.
Right. Why you're voting for your candidate.
Okay, so I am voting for a candidate that is against destruction of your border, against destruction of sovereignty, against creating an economy where it's not good for the people who live in that country. And I'm voting for that person who wants to make sure that you maintain and keep your rights. Now, the other candidate is, no matter what that person says, they are lying. They're doing the bidding of the globalist. The person I'm voting for is against color revolutions, and we all know, or should all know, what a color revolution is. That's where they come into a country. They pay the politicians to lie, steal, and cheat, and they will say, we're going to start a war that you will gain nothing from. You will pay a lot of money, and other people will make money. That's what all of these things. This is exactly what's happening right now. We're experiencing a color revolution. It's happened in Ukraine, I think, twice. It's happened in, you can name more than a dozen probably countries where they talk about the weird thing, democracy.
Yes.
We want democracy. Now, what's the phrase they say? What is democracy? It's two wolves and a sheep voting to decide what is for dinner. Okay?
Kim, you know what? You're so spot on with the democracy thing. You're talking about, they put us into wars where you gain nothing. As you were talking about that, I remember having a conversation with a very dim-witted, black activist talking about as I push. What I'm sorry.
Weather.
We got to go. Oh, darn it. Kim, thank you for your call. I forgot I have to go to weather. Please, I appreciate you. Thank you for all of that. I didn't want to cut you off, but you made such cogent points. I'll get to them as soon as we get back. Let's go to Jason Catarina with weather. We'll be back. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. I totally forgot about that.
You're clear.
All right, as we head through tonight, clear and cooler gray weather for sleeping overnight. The low down to 51 degrees. Sunny, nice, beautiful much of the rest of the week here. Sunny and nice for us on Tuesday. Gorgeous day outside, the high 75. Light breeze out of the north-northwest. Clear and cool tomorrow night. Back down into
I just figured that out, Rolo.
A low Tuesday night. Wednesday, sunny, pleasant. A high up to 79. Another mostly sunny and nice day Thursday. The high of 77. Friday, clouds, sun, couple of showers, mainly early in the day, the high 76, and some periods of rain on Saturday with the high of 77. Right now, New Haven, 81, New London at 77, Hartford at 77. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Start your day with all the latest sports information. Matt Soroyce has updates from the Cordell & Cordell Sports Desk at 15 and 45 past every hour. Only on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Labor Day signals that fall is fast approaching. Apple picking, fall leaves, and chilly nights are on the horizon. With Legacy Box, you can cozy up and watch something special this fall. Your family's home movies. Legacy Box is the simple, safe, all-inclusive solution for preserving your family's memories, trapped on videotapes, film, even photos. After 10 years in business, Legacy Box is the world's largest digitizer. They've helped over 1 million families relive their wedding days, babies' first steps, and family road trips. Just fill Legacy Box with your VHS tapes, film reels, or pictures. Legacy Box digitizes it all by hand right here in the USA, and then sends it back on a thumb drive or the cloud. Future-proof your recorded moments today so you can gather the family and begin the trip down memory lane. Plus, for a limited time, they're offering 55% off. Go to legacybox.com/value to get 55% off. That's legacybox.com/value.
This week at Stu Leonard's Farm Fresh Foods, direct from the Midwest, our mighty porterhouse steak just $9.99 a pound when you use the Stu Leonard's app. That's a total savings of $6 a pound. Plus local jumbo peaches, only $1.49 a pound, save $1.
When you get to the office, listen to us at WTIC.com. Just turn the volume down when you get up.
Here we go.
This is a good record.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. Gonna find you and take it slowly.
Oh, he's playing a music video version. It's Reese on the Radio, NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. The Fugees, of course, that's Lauryn Hill. Absolute iconic voice. And fantastic album.
Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, still an amazing album.
Still got to be one of the best albums ever made.
Yeah.
It's especially for the female space of hip hop. It's got to be the greatest record ever made. In fact, it goes up there with actually some of the male guys, some of male counterparts as well. We'll get back to the phones. I want to make that point about what Kim had said earlier about the whole, the war is about things that you'll never gain anything from the war. I was having a conversation with an adult, talking about, and as I was expressing to him the war in Ukraine, he kept trying to make this statement going, he was like, "Whoa, you sound like you're supporting Putin." I'm just like, please tell me what it is we're fighting for over in Ukraine. And it was a setup because, again, we, in essence, are not fighting in Ukraine. We are in a proxy war that we're financing for Ukraine. And his immediate response was, "We're fighting for democracy." And I immediately said, "And you don't think that you've been brainwashed to repeat that line? You don't even know what that means. Like, you have no idea what that means." And, of course, he got upset. As normally when people don't know what they're talking about they get rattled because they've realized that they've actually just, responded like a robot. Anyway, back to the phones we go. White Mike is in Florida. How are we doing, White Mike? What's going on, sir?
Hey, man. Well, again, happy birthday, and it was a bummer to find out about Hollingsworth. He was a good guy.
Yeah, White Mike and I were good friends with Hollingsworth, and he was a staple on the early stages of the Reese On The Radio rundown.
But, you ask people to tell you why they're voting for their candidate, and clearly I'm voting for President Trump. I mean, that's a given. I'm not on board with him 100%. I mean, he's not perfect.
Right.
I don't agree with his stance on foreign war.
Okay.
He's right. He's right on both of them, but I don't think that he's telling us how he's going to make the Israelis stop. Like, I know how he makes Ukraine and Russia stop. He just says, no more aid to Ukraine. We're going to sanction Russia, and it's over. Because I think Russia wants the war to stop.
Right.
But I don't think that we're going to force the Israelis to stop, because this is a 5,000-year-old fight these people have with each other.
I think it's more than that.
We're not going to stop them. Do I think that there's good guys and bad guys, that both sides in that conflict have done bad things? Of course.
Oh yeah, it's not Hollywood between the two of them.
It's not Hollywood. My gripe with the people on my side who are lockstep in on supporting one side of that conflict is the same I have with Democrats who have their mind closed to President Trump. You need to absorb information and make a legitimate decision about how you feel. And it's not Hollywood. Like you said, there's no innocent people there.
Right.
When I see a story 2 weeks ago that some IDF soldiers were caught on video raping Palestinian prisoners, and the debate in the Knesset was, in our religion, it's legal to do this. Well, that's not a winning position.
Right.
We can't have any part of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's, but as far as, him or Kamala, it's a given. It's him. I mean, she is just, it is the lesser of two evils, but the evil side on this battle is really evil.
Right.
She lied about working at McDonald's.
Yeah, I didn't even get there. I didn't even get there today, but I'm probably going to get there tomorrow. The lying about McDonald's thing is and the lying about living in Oakland versus Berkeley is another.
Well, you saw it with, just recently that some guy who had clearly worked in the fast food industry, some flouncy gay guy, was saying, I worked at McDonald's and I started at counter and worked to grill and drive through. And she says, I did fries.
Right.
Well, let me tell you, as someone who managed a McDonald's, there is no one at McDonald's who only does fries.
I thought that the same thing. I worked at McDonald's for all of 2 weeks, and I know that no one just works fries. That's
It's usually a front counter job.
That's right.
But anybody can dump fries in a basket. So the fact that she chose to lie about working at McDonald's to give herself some sort of every person cred when we know that she's the child of intellectuals.
Yep.
Is ridiculous.
Keynesian, I might add, intellectuals.
And Tim Walz is a massive liar. He's not making things better. He's lied about everything.
Yep.
He lied about his service. He lied about retiring as a CSM. He lied about his family having to undergo IVF or some other sort of fertility treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's even a question he's lying about which dog is his. So, I mean, these people are just terrible. Everything the Democrats stand for. And again, there's some things in the ether economically that they're not wrong about. Like, I'm not a fan of unfettered corporate power.
Mm-hmm.
I think that these corporations need to be held to the is what you're doing good for America standard.
Right.
But nobody talks about that. Like, I don't think that Amazon should be allowed to have a line of house brand products that are made with Chinese slave labor that undercut the IP of American companies and cost
It's a
American
good point.
jobs.
Yeah, of course.
Walmart should be allowed to do it.
Right.
You know, Walmart has a line of everything that's made in China. It's not like the 80s when you had the Sam Walton picture on the end caps saying, look at the town we save at the little store. But nobody's going to talk about that, the Democrats or the Republicans, because they like the money.
That's true. It's a good point.
But
What?
as far as, you know, who's better for the country, dude, it's clearly him because she's going to, with her pie in the sky, $25,000. How about a $25,000 payment for first-time, first-generation homeowners? Well, first of all, that cuts out any middle-class kid who's trying to get a home.
Exactly.
Probably own it.
Well, look.
And all it do is raise the cost of houses $25,000.
That, you know, and I've been talking about that ad nauseum. I think that listen, if they learned nothing, do they think they're so far removed from Bill Clinton's Community Reinvestment Act 2.0 to think that it wouldn't happen again by giving every first-time homeowner $25,000 towards their new home?
That one was a disaster because that led to the housing crisis.
Yes.
Because banks had to write mortgages to unqualified people
purely
because of the color of their skin.
Which is exactly what's going to happen. That's the baked-in part of this $25,000 loan by the federal government to first-time homeowners. But as usual, White Mike, thank you. As cogent as you can always be, sir. I appreciate the call. Thank you, sir. Let's go to Louise, who's in New Britain. How are you, ma'am?
Hi. Speaking of Hollywood, I want to ask if people are, I hope that you know about it, the movie about Ronald Reagan.
Yes, starring Dennis Quaid.
It is. We went yesterday, and I want to recommend it to people. I'm telling you, I wouldn't have even known about it except I watched EWTN, the Catholic
Yes, ma'am.
network, and they were promoting it kind of, and had a couple of interviews with the star,
Mm-hmm.
Dennis
Quaid,
who played Reagan, and also John Voight, who plays the KGB agent, and he was kind of the one telling the story through it.
Does Voight, hold on, does Voight play, gosh, I want to say Gorbachev or no?
No.
Okay.
The KGB.
Oh,
agent.
okay, he plays a KGB agent? Okay, now I got to look at the cast. Like, I got to go see it, too. Go ahead.
Yeah, please. If more people, and how they said, they didn't use the word providential, but it kind of is. Maybe it was because they've had some issues, or some problems. It was started during still COVID going on, and some other problems, and it wound up being put out now, which is a great time during all this unrest in the country and with the presidential campaign and all that. Since more people should see this movie and just inspire them. He's such a great, humble leader. And
let me ask you this, Louise. I was a little, not that you're going to remember this movie or even, I don't know whether or not you've even seen it, but when I got news that Michael Keaton was going to play Batman, everybody across the country was sort of like, oh, really, Mr. Mom? But then I heard Dennis Quaid was playing Ronald Reagan in this film, and I almost got the same feeling. I was like, oh, Dennis Quaid? But then I saw a couple of things in the trailer, and I went, okay, it's not awful. He doesn't, of course, you're hoping that they could get a guy who looks remotely like Ronald Reagan, and Quaid does not. But it's a nice try, right? If you're willing to get past the look thing, you you ask yourself whether or not they capture the essence of the Gipper. Did you get that?
And that's he was saying, that he loves playing real historical figures, and
Mhm.
how much he put into it and got out of it. Was really well done. And the love story between him and Nancy and everything, it was just, it was excellent. So I hope people will try. And it's playing all over. And
Elizabeth Perkins
Plainville,
plays.
it's playing till
Elizabeth
Plainville has it till Wednesday.
Elizabeth
And
Perkins
Berlin.
plays Nancy. Is that the
Oh,
actress?
Who?
Elizabeth Perkins.
God, I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I think she does. I'm almost certain she does. I'm a big fan of her. I think if I'm right, she was also in she was in Carlito's Way. She's a very if you've seen her in other films, she's a very innocent look about her. She's very, innocent, sort of unassuming, right? She doesn't have she has a very romantic comedy look about her. She's a nicer Meg Ryan on the eyes. I've always thought she was very pretty. She has a certain look about her that's very almost porcelain. She's very, very.
Yeah, she was, but she was so in love with him and just so faithful and such a strong supporter right to the end with Alzheimer's and all that. It was just
It's Penelope Ann Miller. Okay, it's Penelope Ann Miller. Thank you, Rama. I appreciate it. Rama's our he's my go-to when it comes to film. Penelope Ann Miller. She's another one who's very, very pretty. But yeah, I'm gonna go see it. I really appreciate you mentioning it, Louise. And it's just called Reagan, right?
Yeah, just Reagan.
Yes.
It's about 2.5 hours. Yeah.
Oh, if it's 2.5 hours, I'm definitely watching. Every movie I go see now is like an hour and 30 minutes.
Oh.
It's like not even worth the price
But
of admission.
you have to sit there for 20 minutes. I think next time we don't go to the movies often. 20 minutes of previews, and one of them was, Lincoln. I says, oh my gosh, what are they gonna do with him? But he was gay or whatever.
Oh,
really?
you watched? That's right, the documentary about Lincoln possibly being gay. I mentioned that on the. I was a little disappointed in that one too. Thank you, Louise. I appreciate the call. Thank you for sharing that with us. That's right. Elizabeth Perkins is the one from Big. Yeah, that's why I'm immediately. Elizabeth Perkins is from Big, and Penelope Ann Miller is the woman from Carlito's Way. That's the woman I'm talking about. Penelope Ann Miller. Very innocent looking. She's like a nicer looking Meg Ryan. Very pretty. She always has curly hair. She doesn't look threatening. She's a I don't know. I always thought she was very pretty. Rolo says Gabraham Lincoln. Gabraham Lincoln. I'm finished with you. I'm going to punish you. You're on punishment for at least 20 minutes. You're on timeout. We'll be back. I've got to get into this, speaking of Hollywood, into this story with George Clooney and this speech he gave about Joe Biden being the most selfless president since George Washington. It's the most laughable thing that you've ever heard coming out of George Clooney's mouth, but we'll have that for you on the opposite side of the break. It is insane. And of course, during the 5 o'clock focus, Labor Day, what are you doing? What does anybody do on Labor Day? The only reason why I ask is because I've never celebrated a Labor Day in my life that I can remember. I know people have cookouts. I know people have picnics. I don't know if they have family reunions. What is the usual thing that people do on Labor Day? In fact, I looked at the Connecticut list of things to do on Labor Day, and there are parades, apparently. Never saw one of those. Not in my neighborhoods. What is it? There's a parade. What's another one? Oh, there's a state fair that you can go to. I've never done anything like that on Labor Day. I always thought Labor Day was the day that you worked. That's just me. So we'll talk about that when we get on the opposite side. When we return, it's Reese on the Radio. We'll be back. It's News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Don't just live with foot pain.
You're clear.
Nearest you at goodfeet.com.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Labor Day afternoon, it'll be...
Come on, man. We went to the fair on... When the hell did we go?
Beautiful.
Saturday.
You went to what? You went to the one in
under clear skies. It'll be cool.
Oh, damn it! Where is it? I just had it in front of me.
There's a couple of them this weekend. We went to the one in Haddam Neck.
That's the one, Haddam. Yeah.
A straight up redneck.
Get your sunscreen comfortable with
One of the kids, I can leave him there and he will watch truck pulls all damn day long.
Is that it? Really?
Yeah, that's his jam right there. Let's go watch some truck pulls.
Rather sunny and very pleasant.
And he's my one kid who's like, He's the country music, like straight up redneck, and I'm like, okay.
Goshen had a fair. Woodstock Fair was also this
Friday
weekend.
To round out the week. Now there will be a couple.
It's like going to the fairs too to eat till I can't walk straight no more. They always have good beer tents.
Periods of rain, the high
What is
of
this?
77.
Lime Rock
Maybe a little
Historic
rain or drizzle in the
Festival?
morning Sunday. Otherwise, most.
That's a nice racetrack.
Too.
Oh, yeah?
Meteorologist
Yeah.
Katarina.
It's out in the middle of nowhere is the problem.
Yeah. Stanford had the St. Leo Fair.
You're just gonna eat these boring with no flavor. Frank it up! Frank it up! This guy finally gets it.
It's the perfect blend of flavor and heat. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
WTIC is 99 and kicks off a year-long
I had to work here Saturday till like 2. And then we went up, met some friends, went to the fair.
to Hartford, an Odyssey station.
75 degrees, 5 o'clock. I'm Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News. On this Labor Day, workers at 25 hotels across the U.S. are on strike. They're seeking higher wages and more. CBS's Christian Benavides reports.
It follows months of failed talks between the Unite Here union and major chains like Marriott, Hilton, and Hyatt.
So the strike right now is about better living wages for hotel workers, a better health insurance, a better pension.
Striking hotel workers also want hotel staffing to return to pre-pandemic levels.
Fewer people are trying to do the same work that more people used to do before the pandemic. And so that makes work harder on everyone.
Workers at the Hyatt Regency in Greenwich have been among those on the picket line. Vice President Harris is on the Labor Day campaign trail. Earlier, she appeared in Detroit talking about campaign tactics.
I think that there has been a certain backward-thinking approach over the last several years, which is to suggest them folks, to suggest that the measure...
Them folks?
Yeah, I don't even know what that's about.
down, instead of what we know, the true measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up.
Coming up, Harris will campaign with President Biden in Pittsburgh. Donald Trump is off the campaign trail today. President Biden says Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is not doing enough to reach a ceasefire deal with Hamas. This as Netanyahu faces nationwide protests. They're calling for a deal that would result in the release of more than 100 Israeli hostages. The bodies of 6 were recovered over the weekend, including American Hirsch Goldberg Poland. His mother, Rachel, spoke at his funeral today in Jerusalem.
Finally, my sweet boy, finally free. I will love you and I will miss you every single day for the rest of my life.
His parents now hoping his death might be a turning point in the conflict. Netanyahu says he'll continue to insist on maintaining a presence along Gaza's border with Egypt as part of any ceasefire deal. An after-midnight dispute led to a shooting near a Waterbury nightclub. Police say a 24-year-old man is in critical but stable condition. After he was shot, 30-year-old suspect Edwin Henriquez Vasquez crashed his car on I-84 and was taken into custody by state police. He was found with a ghost gun. Charges include illegal gun possession. He's being held on $1.5 million bond. State police are in the final day of stepped-up holiday enforcement. There are more troopers out there looking for speeders and drunk drivers. Sergeant Luke Davis also promoting recruiting efforts.
We do need it because our personnel are certainly working a lot of long hours, and some of them are even being forced into work on days off just because of the fact that we may have a shortage and there's a spot that needs to be filled.
So far this holiday, troopers have made 18 DUI arrests while investigating more than 250 crashes. Hartford police say they've broken up a large-scale rim and tire theft operation. Arrested today were 25-year-old Jorge Burgos and 37-year-old Ricardo Torres, both of Hartford. Police say they were found jacking up a vehicle and stealing all 4 tires on it. More arrests are expected. Sports tonight, Red Sox and Mets in New York, pregame 6:10 on WTIC. Yankees in Texas. U.S. Open 4th round, American Jessica Pegula, a straight set winner. Carolina Mahova and Daniil Medvedev, also winners. For more, check out WTIC.com. I'm Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News.
Eagle Rivet is the roofing company for commercial building owners. Eagle will inspect, repair, and maintain your commercial roofing system so you get the maximum life.
1 minute.
From small repairs to complete replacement, Eagle Rivet has roofing systems that will be best for your building. Most service calls are answered within 24 hours. Call Eagle Rivet Roof Service today at 860-953-1231, 860-953-1231, or visit them online at eaglerivet.com. Eagle Rivet is a proud sponsor of Rebuilding Together Hartford.
When loved ones need you, you do whatever it takes to be there. CT Paid Leave offers flexibility to keep up with life's changes with income replacement benefits if you're out of work to care for a loved one, welcome a new child, or address your own health challenges without worrying about how to pay the bills. CT Paid Leave means workers have the ability to focus on their health and their loved ones. CT Paid Leave means stronger families and a stronger workforce. Learn more at ctpaidleave.org.
That's what Biden's been saying to Kamala here.
It's on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Oh, now we're going back. I just went to see them on my birthday. Saw Fat Lip, Slim Kid Trey, and Imani from The Far Side.
I remember in high school, I got not an argument with one of my friends. But he's like, what kind of group is the name Far Side? They can't even spell it right. And I'm like, dude, you listen to 9 Inch Nails. Do you want to talk about band names right now?
Hey, I want to give a shout out to Andrea Hollingsworth. She just sent me a message in the chat room. Andrea, I did not know that you were alerted to the fact that I was mentioning your husband, but Andrea writes, Reese, thank you so much for sharing my husband with your audience. He loved your show, and we loved him very much. And again, we are all here, and everyone has been expressing that we are sorry for your loss, young man, and you are in our prayers. And whenever you need, please, give me a holler. Andrea, I never got an opportunity to meet you, so I'm glad that I'm glad that I got to meet you now, even under the circumstances. And our wishes are, we're with you, and we pray for you. If I can get into New York in the next couple of weeks, I promise you that I will. Hopefully, to get to his the memorial that you're planning for him. We're supposed to be nearby very soon because we have another engagement that's happening. We're still working on that. If we can, so I hope so. Anyway, we got a lot of stuff to get into before we get into weather. But George Clooney, George Clooney is responsible for a little cut that I have over my left eye. I'll tell that story one day because technically it's just my fault, but he is partly responsible. I got a gash on my left eye from a pole on a subway train because of a movie that he was promoting. And when I tell you the story, George Clooney will always be a part of my life because of this gash that I got and I still have the mark on the corner of my eye. It happened when a movie that it was called The Peacemaker. You guys familiar with that? I think Nicole Kidman was in that. Yeah, because of that film, I got a gash on my eye. I ran right into a pole because of that film. George Clooney said this. Let me play it for you.
The person who should be applauded is the president who did the most selfless thing that anybody's done since George Washington. And that's true. And so all the machinations that got us there, that's all, none of that's going to be remembered. And it shouldn't be. What should be remembered is the selfless act of someone who, it's very hard to let go of power. We know that. We've seen it, all around the world.
Can you believe this guy? Can you believe the audacity of this guy? We'll get into that, I promise you. It is so worth diving into what George Clooney, he's in essence the catalyst. Do you understand that? This guy is the catalyst to why Joe Biden had to step aside. It was his op-ed in the New York Times that led to Joe Biden stepping away. Him. That rat Fink. Now he's talking about, no one will remember how we got here. So when we come back, we'll play the whole bit because I've only played part of it, but I'll play the whole bit. And George Clooney's trying to get himself out of this. He's trying to wiggle himself out of this. He's solely responsible. And we'll explain that when we get back, plus your phone calls. All right? So stick around. We'll be back. More news, more views. It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
We want everyone to enjoy their Labor Day weekend.
You're clear?
So please, use a rideshare or a designated driver. A DUI will change your life. Don't drink and drive. From your friends at Odyssey and Carter Mario Injury Lawyers.
WTIC weather.
As we head through the evening and overnight, clear and cooler. Great weather for sleeping tonight. The low down to 51. Sunny and nice as we head into the day on Tuesday. The high 76. Wednesday, sunny, very pleasant. Great day to be outdoors. Make sure you wear your sunscreen. High of 79. Mostly sunny. Another beautiful day Thursday. The high 77. Clouds and sun on Friday with a couple of showers, but mainly early in the day. The high of 76. Right now, Mansfield at 73. Danbury also 73. Bristol 75. It's also 75 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and
2 minutes.
Thank you.
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
She posted about us just now.
Celebrities can't get enough of Beyond's bespoke skincare line.
She has 147 million followers. How do we monetize?
She needs a social media associate to help her with the hype.
We should repost this. Do we need a hashtag?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Wow, honey, have you seen the electric bill?
Yeah, it's out of control. But have you heard of Navien tankless water heaters?
Tankless? How does that even work?
Well, instead of constantly heating and storing water, it only heats water when we need it. So much more efficient than our giant tank heater.
That sounds great. Let's look into Navien.
Already on it.
Imagine all the hot water you need only when you need it. Bulky tanks are history. Navien High Efficiency Tankless is the future. Compact, wall-hung units free up floor space, lower energy bills, longer life than tanks, and a 15-year warranty. Find out more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
There we go.
The Ad Council.
The law firm of Brown, Panderis, and Scott wish you a safe and happy Labor Day weekend.
So you never forget this. The days are way back. So many bear witness the fitness. Take the first letter out of each word in this joint.
Listen close as I prove my point. T to the R-O-Y. How you doing now? I can do that all day. It's Reese on the Radio, NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Little Pete Rock and CL Smooth. I've actually something interesting about this, and those of you, this audience would know this because of the group that I'm going to mention in conjunction with Pete Rock and CL Smooth. I just watched a video not too long ago of Daryl McDaniels, otherwise popularly known as DMC of Run DMC, talking about Pete Rock and CL Smooth. And right at the latter part of the Run DMC era in 1994, I want to say it was, and I'm almost certain it was around 1994. Run DMC was pretty much running its course at that point. Pete Rock and CL Smooth had come on the scene, and Daryl McDaniels, DMC, says that if not for the song "Down with the King" that Pete Rock produced with and was performed with CL Smooth, that song saved Run DMC from obscurity. And the way he brought it back was the way that Run DMC talks about it is, he said it came full circle because someone had saved them like Run DMC saved Aerosmith. And he thought it was a very interesting way, the way he brought it. So if you ever catch the interview, it's a great story, the way that DMC lays it out. It talks about, after they saved Aerosmith's career, how someone came back and saved them, and Pete Rock and CL Smooth did that for them with the Down with the King album, which was, there it is. Still one of my favorite records ever. Still to this day, Pete Rock is uncanny as far as a producer in my view, but that's a great song for that. Anyway, let's get to the phones. I don't want to keep them holding too long because we'll get into the George Clooney thing in a minute. Commentary is in Texas. How you doing, sir?
What up, Reese? Hey, where's Russell Simmons hiding at? Thailand?
Yes. He's now hold on. He's hiding in Thailand, but listen, it is not to be suggested that he's hiding for any reason, even though they don't have any extradition there. He's not hiding for any particular reason.
Hey, I had a question for you. I was just going to update you on what I got going on Labor Day. So my question is, do people who live off government assistance for the entirety of their lives celebrate Labor Day?
Yes, of course. In fact, it is incumbent on them because they are celebrating others' labor who makes their lives happen and subsidizing their lives. Of course they do. Labor Day. In fact, they're the first people.
Right? But, yeah, just checking in, man, listening to you, getting a history lesson, getting some political lessons and music lessons, of course. I'm just at the crib, man, in the backyard burning some meat.
Burning meat.
Chicken, steaks, hamburgers, all that. I had to take out a second mortgage to afford it all, but World War III on the way, so I ain't going to have to pay it back. It's like the Chase, whatever that Chase thing.
Oh, I'm going to talk about that. Please do not. Don't get ahead of me. I got to talk about that. That one is exactly... That one dovetails directly into what you said about people on public assistance celebrating Labor Day. I got to get into that story.
I'll tell you what, sir. Rest in peace to Fat Man Scoop. Hated to see that. Rest in peace to both your friends. Happy birthday to your wife. And I'll let you move on to everybody else, man. You have a great day.
Thank you, man. You too. Let's go to Steve in Waterbury. Hello, Steve. How we doing?
Hey, Reese. We can't overlook the fact they got some primo drugs in Thailand as well.
Some primo what?
They got some primo drugs in Thailand.
Right,
as well.
indeed, right.
Right. I wanted to talk about your fears in a moment, but I wanted to talk about Michael Keaton first.
Yes.
And I got to admit that when I heard he was going to be Batman, I kind of fell into the stereotype of things. It's like they never had like Max Baer play anything but like Jethro because he was typecast.
Right.
Yeah, Barney Miller, or not Barney Miller, the guy who played Ted Clampett ended up becoming Barnaby Jones and did a good job on
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Right. But, I mean, Johnny Carson said it pretty well because at the time they were announcing that Michael Keaton was going to become Batman, which came out in 1989, you were saying people are more concerned who's going to play Batman and who is going to be vice president, which was Dan Quayle at the time.
That's right. That's right. You're absolutely right. Talk about what people were thinking about culturally at the time of 1989. And I'll never forget, I was at the premiere for that Batman film. I saw that before anyone else in the neighborhood. I got to see a premiere of it, and that line was everywhere. It was all anyone cared about. It was like, is Michael Keaton going to pull off Batman? Like, we have a consequential election coming up. Yeah, but that's important. But this Batman thing is really, it's bugging me.
We got to have our priorities. He did a good job, though, I guess.
He did.
Well, I want to talk about your fears.
Okay.
And first of all, happy birthday to your wife.
Thank you.
You realize you could have took her to Burger King and got a free crown. You have to get the hair. But anyways, I was thinking, around the holidays, Labor Day, there's all kinds of, people getting together, attempting to get high alcohol, whatever. So certainly there's going to be more likely somebody getting shot or hurt or whatever breaking out. Now, the thing about the tall grass in your yard, you live where, in New York now or where?
I'm out in the West, but that's another story.
Okay, because I know, there's only 2 poisonous snakes in Connecticut, 3 in New York.
Right.
And, you probably rarely ever see a poisonous snake. But the tall grass. Now,
in Connecticut, Michael B's cousin just got bit by a rare rattlesnake in Connecticut. Okay? It made national news. It was in the UK Daily Mail. That's how big of a story it was.
Right, but how often does that happen? I mean, President Ford comes in here, is driving with his limousine driver and got into an accident with the road shut down.
Yeah, there you go. Well, okay, so what are you saying that my fear is of course my fear is irrational because of course it's all in my head, right?
Right.
So, okay, so what do you think is a good remedy? Because look, I'll tell you, one of the things that I've learned is that, I'm not allowed to go into my brain alone because it's a bad neighborhood, right? So,
right.
I've got to go there with supervision. So I can talk myself into any nightmare, which is, again, the story about the snake. me thinking there's a snake in the house. Like, what if I walk? That's all I said was, what if I get up and I go to the bathroom and there's a snake on the floor? Or if I sit down in the bathroom, there's a snake in the toilet. Like, I was putting that in my head, and all of a sudden my heart starts racing, and then I can't go to the bathroom, and then I'm inside my bedroom underneath the covers, sweating and shivering at the same time because I've talked myself into nonsense because I know I can do that.
I'm certainly not going to mention these two things to you. Boa constrictor has been known to go through the plumbing in apartment buildings and come up in somebody's toilet.
Thanks.
And I'd be much more concerned about traffic accidents on the holiday weekend.
That I am.
So I hope you rest at ease knowing that.
Listen, I've learned to calm myself down by saying, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Do not talk yourself, because I believe it. I truly believe that you can talk yourself into calamity. I believe that you can talk it into existence.
I truly believe you could brainwash yourself in so many ways, and that's what I think so many schools are doing with this woke stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, and we all have these irrational fears. But if you think about it, most things that we worry about never ever come close to happening.
Exactly. I'm trying really, really hard to just make sure that I stay patient, I stay alert, I try to have a good time. I don't put my head on a swivel too much. I just sort of relax and just say, you know what, have a good time and enjoy it, because as Ferris Bueller says, the world moves fast. If you mess around, you could miss it. So I try to
absolutely.
I try to make sure.
This friend of mine actually ended up in like a mental institution because she got in her thought. She was so afraid of dying that she wouldn't leave the house. She didn't even want to get into a shower. And I was one of the only people who go visit her. And I said, listen, your fear of dying is keeping you from living.
Ah, wow. Great line. Yeah, sure enough.
So,
it's funny. I appreciate you, Steve. Thank you so much for the call, man, and for the advice. We have a great saying. My good friend T in Virginia says that. He goes, take my advice. I'm not using it. Zappa Creek says he got bit by the rattlesnake because he was a fool that tried to pick it off the road and move it. Yeah, listen, Michael B's cousin, but Michael B said the same thing, by the way. Zappa's saying, yes, he did. He is a nature guy. He saw a snake. He didn't want anyone to run over it. So he gave it aid to move it off the road, and he ends up being bitten. Now, wise move in retrospect? No, obviously. But, at the end of it, I'm sure, I don't know. Actually, Michael B., tell me, does your cousin regret it after being bit? And, if they had to put him in a coma, I think it was a medical-induced coma. But he's survived it. But I'm wondering, after that, when you survive something like that, you say to yourself, well, it was worth it because I saved the life of one of our friendly creatures. Or you say to yourself, oh, that was boneheaded. I don't know. Me, I'd probably say, first of all, I would not have tried to save the snake. I would have freaked out. That was what I would have done. That's the last thing that I would think about saving, because it's a snake and it doesn't have my best interest. And that's one of my biggest problems. Gosh, don't even get me down this. Why am I down this rabbit hole? Let me say this, because I'm already here, and I promised the George Clooney thing, but I just was going to wait. I really do believe that we have a problem as humans, that we try to humanize animals, that they think they have a conscience. I see these videos with the dogs, who are doing human-like things. They're pressing the buttons and answering questions. Do you want to eat? Yes. Do you want to go outside? No. They're trying to humanize their animals. You can't. You cannot humanize. They are animals. They have instincts. They're not like humans. They don't have a conscience like us. Okay? Yes. Are there good dogs? Of course there are. Are there bad dogs? Yes, there are bad dogs. You can train a dog to be good, but a dog is a dog. They are not human. And this humanizing of animals is always a problem with me. I've always got an issue with it. But if you really want to upset, these enthusiasts, if you will, say something absurd like, I wonder what koala tastes like. That drives them crazy. That, every time I say it, you have no idea of the reaction that I get. I'll say that to one of these real, like, animal-loving people, you know? Like, I'll say something, like, be at the grocery store, and I'll be picking up beef jerky, and I'll be like, do you ever wonder what giraffe jerky would be like? Oh, they lose it. They get outraged. It's a fight. It's really, I love doing it to the over-the-top enthusiasts, animal-loving enthusiasts. Bring up a koala bear. Just say, or tell them a completely fabricated story about the time you went to Australia and had a koala burger. That will definitely lose it. Or a panda burger. Just anything like that. They'll lose it. Michael B. said he actually didn't throw a shirt over it. He was almost 5 feet away when it bit him. They can lunge up to 100 miles per hour. So he was almost 5 feet away when it bit him. So it jumped at him. So he didn't even get in. He actually didn't throw his shirt over it. Oh, okay, so he just approached the snake while it was there. Just reaching. Oh, I don't know who these people are, but they've got. I don't know. They got a lot. They got a lot of guts. Michael A. says the koala bears taste like licorice. That's interesting. I hope he's kidding. You're going to get me in trouble for even saying that. There's somebody now who's completely outraged because they love all that. The first question would be, who would do that, Reese? Charles Bach. Oh, Charles Bach. Is it Charles Bach? Oh, wow. Okay, I will look it up. I will. Anyway, so when we come back, I'll play the George Clooney clip. And also, did you hear about this Chase Bank glitch that people have been taking advantage of? Well, it's come back to bite them. And it is an amazing story about people taking things that don't belong to them. Bums, I call them. It is an insane story. And TikTok got these people in trouble, and they were online celebrating it. Woo! Chase Bank is giving out thousands of dollars. Well, now their bank accounts are reeling because of it, and there could be a lot of criminal charges. So we'll break that down for you as well. And see if I can post the article on ReeseOnTheRadio.com, or at least on Facebook, so you guys can take a look at it. So check it out. It's a really, really crazy story, and we'll get to the bottom of it when we get a chance. What is it? Oh, he took a video of it. Definitely won't be making that mistake again. He did take a video of it. Oh, I'd love to see it. No, maybe not. I don't want to see that video. Bigger concern is no anti-venom in the Torrington Hospital. They had to fly. That's right. They had to fly all the way to Hartford. I did hear that. But like I said, a snake is just, that's for me. I won't walk up to a stray dog, right? And a dog is supposed to be the most reasonable animal you can walk up to. But like, I have this one saying when it comes to dogs. You know, I say, you know, I won't talk to a dog, or I won't approach a dog until they speak English. So, I mean, I have dogs, so you know, it's just one of those things. I don't have anything that's, you know, ferocious. They're just, you know, ferocious. Oh, he videotaped it before the bite. Oh, okay. Well, I wonder if he videotaped it like when he dropped the phone. Like, I don't know. Why am I even bringing it? I don't need this story. It's in my head now. I don't need this story. You know how my mind works. There's a mess. We'll come back. I got more news, more views. We'll play that George Clooney video, as well as we'll talk about that Chase Bank story on TikTok. So, all right, so stick around. Get your phone calls in. We'll be back. It's Reese on the Radio. The number's 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. We'll be back. It's News Talk 1080 WTIC.
You're clear.
20s was a decade of firsts for WTIC. In March of 26, WTIC was the first station to originate remote broadcasts of live professional vaudevillians. Telephone lines from the Capitol Theater in Hartford caught the acts of Jack Benny, Edgar Bergen, Charlie McCarthy, and more before they were on network radio and became household names. In 27, WTIC was the first station to introduce a radio quiz show, Jack Says, Ask Me Another, hosted by Mark Hickey and sponsored sponsored by Jack the Tire Expert. In 28, we aired the first broadcast of the annual Yale-Harvard Regatta live from New London and fed the coverage to NBC. If you're wondering, Yale won the varsity, junior varsity, and freshman races.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
It's December 17th, but it's saying the first air date was...
For the rest of our Labor
February
Day
10th.
afternoon, it'll be mostly sunny, breezy, less humid, the high of 79. And as we head through tonight, well, it'll be clear and cooler. Good weather for sleeping with the low down to 51. Tuesday, sunny and nice, a gorgeous day to be outdoors. Just don't forget sunscreen, the high of 75. Another sunny and very pleasant day on Wednesday, the high up to 79 on Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Follow WTIC News Talk 1080. Don't miss out on important updates in Connecticut from breaking need-to-know news, weather alerts, and more. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app now. And now, a WTIC News Update.
74 degrees at 5:30. I'm Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he'll continue to insist on maintaining a presence along Gaza's border with Egypt as part of any ceasefire deal. This as Netanyahu faces nationwide protests, including a general strike, calling for him to complete a deal that would release more than 100 Israeli hostages held by Hamas. The bodies of 6 were recovered over the weekend, including that of American Hirsch Goldberg Poland. His parents spoke at his funeral today in Jerusalem.
In their eulogies today, which were very, very moving, they said that they hoped that after 330 days, that they hoped that Hirsch would come back alive, but he didn't. At the same time, they said they hope that this is going to be a turning point. His death will be a turning point to win the release of the remaining 101 hostages held in Gaza.
CBS's Robert Berger. Hotel workers across the U.S. are on strike, including in Boston. Workers at the Hyatt Regency in Greenwich are among those on the picket line. Vice President Harris is on the Labor Day campaign trail. She already appeared in Detroit. Now she'll campaign with President Biden in Pittsburgh. On the trail in Connecticut, Democratic Senator Chris Murphy and Congresswoman Johanna Hayes attended the Labor Day parade in Newtown. The mosquito-borne virus known as sloth fever has been detected in roughly 24 U.S. travelers who have recently been to Cuba. It's typically seen in Central and South America. Dr. Kevin Deekhouse is at UConn Health.
We're starting to see travelers who are coming back to the United States and to Europe that have come down with this Oropouche virus.
There are no vaccines or medications, so as with West Nile and Triple E, people
Joey,
have been reminded to
are we
use
affiliated
bug
with
repellents
Premier?
and cover up when outside.
What was that?
Are we
Sports
affiliated
tonight,
with Premier
Red Sox and
Network?
Mets in New York pregame at 6:10.
We carry a lot of their stuff.
Okay.
I don't know if they fall under the Odyssey crapbrella.
I don't.
Winner, fellow American Tommy
but
Paul
what's the name?
plays top seed Yannick
I
Sinner
found the
tonight.
birth date. It's actually February 10th.
For more, check out WTIC.com. I'm Dave Mager, WTIC 1080 News.
Men, when addressing the problem of erectile dysfunction, you want the right treatment for your specific medical situation because every case is different, and finding the right treatment can mean the difference between just an okay experience and an amazing one. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, and at our practices, we offer the full range of ED treatment protocols and can even combine therapies to help make those intimate moments special, both for you and your partner. At Northeast Men's Health, we're the leader in treating ED in the area. Our medical providers specialize in men's sexual health and understand that no two cases are alike, which means you'll get the right treatment for you based on sound medical evaluation and appropriate applications of medical therapies. Plus, we offer treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most men, you'll get your sex life back. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. We have 5 offices in the Northeast to serve you.
Labor Day signals that fall is fast approaching. Apple
1 minute.
fall leaves and
Thank
chilly
you.
nights are on the horizon. With Legacy Box, you can cozy up and watch something special this fall. Your family's home movies. Legacy Box is the simple, safe, all-inclusive solution for preserving your family's memories trapped on videotapes, film, even photos. After 10 years in business, LegacyBox is the world's largest digitizer. They've helped over 1 million families relive their wedding days, babies' first steps, and family road trips. Just fill LegacyBox with your VHS tapes, film reels, or pictures. LegacyBox digitizes it all by hand right here in the USA, and then sends it back on a thumb drive or the cloud. Future-proof your recorded moments today so you can gather the family and begin the trip down memory lane. Plus, for a limited time, they're offering 55% off. Go to legacybox.com/value to get 55% off. That's legacybox.com/value.
It's
Here we go.
on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Oh, there he is. Batman Scoop. Rest in peace, my good friend. So much fun to be around, and he was just funny, and that voice was just iconic. And if you're at a party, just and you hear his voice, just remember he was in Hamden, Connecticut. I don't think Tim was there. I don't think Tim was at that concert. I doubt it. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. This story, before we get to Craig in the car. So a glitch in Chase Bank went viral on TikTok over the weekend. It enabled customers to withdraw large sums of money from ATMs despite having insufficient funds in their accounts. This issue appeared to allow users to deposit fake checks and immediately withdraw the funds before they cleared, leading many to believe they had successfully manipulated the banking system. Social media users were spotted lined up outside a Chase Bank, eager to take advantage of the glitch and cash in on what they believed was free money. However, they made a vital mistake in thinking that the bank could be outsmarted so easily, as Chase was quick to fix the bug, and within one day, many individuals who participated in the trend were left grappling with holds on their accounts and massive negative balances. One man reportedly saw his account drop more than $30,000 after hopping in on the trend. A spokesperson for Chase commented on the situation, cautioning participants about the serious ramifications of their actions. We are aware of this incident and have addressed it. Regardless of what you see online, depositing a fraudulent check and withdrawing the funds is unequivocally fraud, the spokesman stated. The irony of the situation is that while these individuals thought they were outwitting the banking system by exploiting a temporary loophole, they ultimately fell into the debt trap. Rather than enjoying what they believed was their newfound financial freedom, they have instead shackled themselves to significant debts and in addition to potential legal consequences. The fact that anyone thought that they had a chance of getting away with this social media scheme highlights a stunning lack of financial literacy and common sense that currently plagues our society at large, the writer says. That's, their point of view. But yeah, there's no such thing as free money. And guess what? If you got caught up in it, you deserved it. You deserved it. And I maybe just give the money back. Hopefully you didn't buy any of the new kicks, just saying, hopefully you didn't put a down payment on a new whip. You know what I'm saying? Just hopefully you just give the money back. My bad, Chase. Here you go. Maybe you'll just survive that way. I'm just saying. I can't believe that anybody would do something so ridiculous. It's just dumb. It's like, I don't know. What are you going to do? You can't feel sorry for these bozos. And I'm looking at this one guy. He's got his hand over his face. He actually showed he is minus $31,000 on his Chase account. And he's like, oh, man, I tried to come up. I can't believe this is happening to me. Really? Outsmart the bank? Good luck there, buddy. Whew, good luck there. All right, we'll go to traffic with Jason Caterina in a minute. We'll be back. More news, more views. We'll play the George Clooney video in its entirety and wrap a bow on this Labor Day edition of Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
At the Carter Mario Law Firm,
yeah, Clark.
Over $1 billion for injured people. When you need someone to fight for you, you need to get Carter in your corner.
What's up?
GetCarter.com or call
Michael
us at
B just sent me the video of the
Carter.
snake that his cousin just. I'm like, holy moly!
All right, heading through the evening.
I'm looking at the damn thing. I'm going, he's way too close now.
And sunny, nice day for our.
Now, do you have those little scorpions where you are?
Oh yes, and
oh my God!
Let me tell you, that's what somebody just said in the chat room. I'm literally every time in my house, even I take my shoes and I bang them against the wall just before I can. Oh, just forget about it.
Friday, the high of 76.
Yeah, and we went down like last year. My sister-in-law was like, "Yeah, we were sitting by the pool." She's like, "Make sure you shake your towel out. There might be a scorpion or two in it." I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Hartford 75. Oh, Bristol 75.
I don't know why, but the first time my wife told me about scorpions, I don't know why, but I immediately thought of Brandon Fraser in the Mummy movies.
I went Mortal Kombat.
I'm like, why would my brain go there?
COVID-19 up to date with a COVID shot this season.
Yeah, she's like, "Yeah, we've all been stung by him. It's fine. Just kick him along." I'm like, "No."
Is recommended by the CDC.
I'm almost certain that a scorpion is one of the 5 deadly venoms from the Kung Fu films. That guy's
burn the damn place down.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
They were screwing with my speakers in here, but they sound like crap today.
Oh, do they?
Like everything sounds overdriven, but I'm like, I'm not overdriving anything, but they sound like garbage.
Oh,
qualification. I'm trying to like jam out in here. I got crap speakers.
Out here,
97 fucking Honda Civic in here.
Feel like you're the only person on earth. And sometimes that's how it feels when you're going through tough times. Stress builds up. You have trouble sleeping. Maybe your mind is racing and you just don't feel like yourself. So what do? We get help. Lots of people are struggling with their mental health. It's more common than you think. The good news is there are people in our community who are here for us when times are tough. Sometimes just talking to someone can make all the difference in the world, so we don't feel so alone. One thing you can do is visit loveyourmindtoday.org for simple steps you can take to find the right solution for you. Whether it's hearing stories about what other people are going through or finding the resources we need to navigate the stresses in our lives. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Columbia Implant Center in Manchester offers the leading edge in technology, which allows for dental procedures start to finish in one day. From a single tooth replacement to complete reconstruction, we do it all. Call 860-730-6020 or ColumbiaImplantCenter.com.
Don't just live with foot pain. Find the Good Feet store nearest you at goodfeet.com.
WTIC News Talk 1080. The more you listen, the more you know.
Oh. Now, you want to hear something crazy? When I was with Star and Buck Wild in New York, we used to end the show with that, with this song all the time. Oh, that brings back memories.
Going out to all those people out at Chase Bank at the ATM?
Yeah, no doubt. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. George Clooney, I want to play this first, but there's something I have to correct the record on. But let me play this George Clooney bit first. This is, again, he is the guy who wrote the article in the New York Times that started the wheels moving on Joe Biden being ousted for his reelection bid. And he got the approval from none other than Barack Obama. He sent it to Barack Obama, talked to Barack Obama gave the approval to send it to the New York Times. The New York Times ran it. Here's George Clooney now praising Joe Biden as if he's some George Washington-like figure who fell down on his sword and gave it up for the greater good.
The person who should be applauded is the president who did the most selfless thing that anybody's done since George Washington. And that's true. And so anybody...
Now, obviously, the smattering of applause is a clear indicator. No one believes that bullcrap.
All the machinations that got us there, that's all. None of that's going to be remembered.
You hope so. You sure do hope so. No one's going to remember it.
And it shouldn't be. What should be remembered is the selfless act of someone who, it's very hard to let go of power. We know that. We've seen it, all around the world. And for someone to say, I think there's a better way forward.
That's not what he did. That man went away kicking and screaming. We all know that.
That's all the credit goes to him, and that's really the truth. And all the rest of it will be long gone and forgotten. And so I'm just very proud of where we are in the state of the world right now, which I think many people are surprised by. And
man, pat yourself on the back. Pat yourself on the back. George Clooney, you deserve it. You deserve it. Pat yourself on the back. You're the one who got him gone. Yeah, you should be patting yourself on the back. That's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. Anyway, who said we don't need to remember that, he says. That's the funny part. All right, I got to tell this story, okay? And I know that you probably don't know this story, but Joey, you probably know this story. Do you remember in August of 2001, an R&B singer died in a plane crash?
Sounds familiar.
Okay. On August 25th, 2001, R&B singer Aaliyah passed away in a plane crash while filming a music video called, and I can't remember the name now, but it'll come to me. Oh, Rock the Boat. Rock the Boat. She's filming that music video there with Hype Williams, and she got on a one of those. What do you call those boats with the two water rudders and
catamarans?
Yeah, catamarans. Yes, she was on one of those, and they had overstuffed the boat. I mean the plane with a lot of filming equipment, plus the passengers are on board, and of course the plane crashed. She died. It was a Saturday on August 25th, 2001. Now, the night that she passed, I was at a dinner at a place called Mr. Chow's. And at that dinner was Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton was there at this dinner at Mr. Chow's at the downstairs dining room because he was about to be remarried. He was going to be, he was renewing his vows with his then wife at the time. And he was holding what would, I guess you could be called a bachelor party, but with a lot of very important dignitaries. There was the publisher of the I guess there was a black, what's it called, the Black Renaissance newspaper or whatever it was. But anyway, I sat at this dinner, next to Martin Luther King III and former New York Mayor David Dinkins. There were a lot of other very prominent African Americans in politics and pop culture who were also there that Saturday. We have that dinner, we leave, myself and the host of the morning show that I was a part of, Stars, Short Terrain, and we get into his car and we're leaving. Now, I would tag along on these events with Star because he would be invited to them, and we, would gather talking about those things on Monday's show. So in the car after we leave that dinner with Al Sharpton, it is the day that Aaliyah has passed away. Star reaches behind the car. I'm sitting in the back seat, and he goes, "Hey, what are we going to do tomorrow to talk about the Aaliyah passing?" Now, I stopped the story here because it's important. There have been plenty of people online talking about what took place the day after, or the Monday after Aaliyah passed away. Every story you heard is a lie about what happened. This has been circulating online. People have been talking about it online. I've seen it all over the place. There is no truth to the story that you've heard online. What I am about to tell you is what happened. Absolute fact. It is irrefutable because I have not only the evidence to support it, I have the documents to support it. Here's the case. Star turns back. He's in the front passenger seat. His friend Peter is driving. He looks back at me and says, what are we going to do for the Aaliyah plane crash passing? My response to him is, we will play a plane crash on Monday's show. Now, again, we're shock jocks. Okay? That's our job. Our objective on the air is to shock, to appall. It is to go to the line and do something unheard of. I am the person who said that to Star. He said, what are you talking about? I said, don't worry, the morning we will explain it. So that morning we got in on Monday. That was Saturday. Monday morning, I'm in very early at about 4 o'clock. I get together with Dave Cerisi, who is our audio producer. We get together and we produce what we call, and that's all it was, what we were going to tell our audience was that we had exclusive audio of the plane crash. That was it. We had no intention of smearing her or saying anything like that. We were only saying that we had audio of the plane crash. That was it. We weren't going to do what other hosts had done, like when Selena had passed away. You know what happened there. I don't need to repeat it. But that was the whole get-up. We had produced it. We had it ready for about 8 a.m. The show had already been on for 2 hours. At about 8 a.m., we finally produced the audio, and I presented it to the show host. The show host heard it. We played it inside the studio. Played it inside the studio. Miss Jones, the famous R&B singer, was our co-host listening to that audio. And she says, oh, my God, I cannot believe you're going to play that. Why do it so soon? She did not know what our intention was, but she immediately thought that it was tasteless. But she said, it's too soon, you shouldn't play it. But we heard it, and we thought the audio was good. We thought it was perfect for air, and we would explain what we were doing to make sure that people didn't get it twisted, what we were doing. But she was concerned because she thought that the backlash would look bad on her. So she devised a plan. This is the part that is being misconstrued in the media. Ms. Jones heard the audio. She knows the audio is going to be played. She then says this, and I quote, okay, when you guys play the audio, I'm going to pretend to be angry. And I'm going to walk off the air. We said, okay, no problem. You don't want any parts of this. So that's what she did. We played the audio at about 9:05 in the morning. Infamously, that audio was played. People went nuts. She pretended to be angry, walked off the air. She walked right off the air, and that was it. And no one was even concerned about it because, again, it was 2001. The show had just started. And the audio was played. A couple of people called in. But the people who called in said, some people said, oh, I can't believe you played that. And other people said, wow, you guys are real haters. Oh, you guys are awful, blah, blah, blah. But there was no attention given to it. It was later on in the broadcast day during another popular host where the rapper named Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest got on the air crying about the audio we played in the morning. Nobody even knew what we played because no one was listening. Not many people heard it. But it got momentum when Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest mentioned it, and then it was all over the country. Even people in Ireland called me and told me, I can't believe that you played it, and then I had to explain to some people in Ireland what happened. Yes, I can't believe I'm actually having to explain this to people in Ireland. But the bottom line was that nothing was said, nothing was done. We just played the audio. No sponsors left us, no sponsors threatened us, and none of that ever took place. Star took a paid suspension for 2 weeks. We came back on the air the Monday before September 11th. That's right. We were on the air the Monday before September 11th, September 10th, after a 2-week vacation. And then September 11th happened, and no one heard about the story thereafter. So everyone who tells that story is telling that story falsely and fake, or telling a fake version of the story. None of it happened the way that it did. In fact, in the New York Post, we had an article in the New York Post that day on September 11th that was bashing the host of the show. And
the first thing we said about that article was after September 11th that nobody was even going to see the article as well. It was also the same day that the New York Times ran an article about what's his name? I can't even remember his name now. I don't even know why I brought it up. But yeah, but that's how that happened. The whole thing. That was the whole thing. That became the most famous thing that ever happened in my show career when I first started in radio. But people are talking about it now. In fact, it's gone viral online on several different places. And I've heard people talk about this story in so many weird ways. But it was nobody's idea but mine. I take full responsibility for coming up with the audio, but it was never meant to be disrespectful. It was only done to say that we had exclusive audio of the plane crash. That's it. And everybody else is talking about it as something else to be disrespectful. It wasn't done to be disrespectful. That's all it was. It was a phony audio clip that we invented, and that was the end of it. And so all of these other people who are sort of suggesting that it was otherwise, all of that is nonsense. So if you hear or see of the story, now you know exactly what happened. And truth be told, what happened afterwards was actually amazing because we were running against none other than Howard Stern to be on, he was still in mornings in New York. And because of the airing of that and that controversy, it was the first time in any history that an urban radio station or radio host, radio show had ever beaten him in the ratings in the key demo. So that was our claim to fame, and that's what made us famous. Yeah, so that's where it was. And so I hear a lot of people talking about it, and I've heard them talk about it a lot. But I keep saying, hey, I'm trying to correct the record, but nobody wants me to correct the record. So that's what happened. It was a trying time, but many people forget what happened because September 11th happened immediately afterwards, and people forget about it. And that was the first time, interestingly enough. September 11th ended up being the first time I had ever broadcasted on air. My first air date on radio happened on September 11th in 2001 because I watched the second tower get hit. And that was essentially how my radio career began. Was on that day. So my anniversary lands on September 11th every year because my broadcasting career started that day. So there you have it. Because a lot of people have contacted me about it, and I finally wanted to address it and get it over with. You never have to ask me again because now it's the case is closed. Zapper says that tell Joey that it's in his truck. They're in his truck. I don't know what he's talking about. Maybe your speakers. Maybe they're in the truck. Michael B says that the 9/11 story put her story on the back burner. It did. It absolutely did. And the New York, people forget about this, that the New York Post actually got into a lot of controversy. You might be able to look this up. On the cover of the New York Post, after Aaliyah had passed away, they had done a funeral procession down Fifth Avenue, I believe it was. It may have been Madison, but it was down a major thoroughfare through New York City. And the New York Post put an article, a headline that said, holding up traffic for this, or something to that effect. That was a lot of people in the hip hop and R&B community took as offensive that the New York Post was saying that, they were stopping traffic for this person. And people were outraged. And that also took kind of a lot of the heat off of us. So it was a little weird. Anyway, so I just wanted to get that out. And I figured no perfect time other than Labor Day to finally get that story out. So I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have some questions, hit me up at reasonoradio.com. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the Radio. You have a good night, a pleasant tomorrow. Thank you, Joey. As always, I'll see you back here tomorrow, sir. All right, you guys be good to yourself, and we'll check you out next time. Holler.
The days are shorter and the temperature.
All right, you're clear, sir.
Thank you.
Weather information you need.
And what do you say? I don't have you. I have.
Talk 1080.
What's
tomorrow?
Information with Bob Cox on the WTIC.
I'll be here tomorrow.
Okay, you'll be here tomorrow. And then what's the kid's name?
Justin.
Justin. Okay, and I gotta make sure I get him on the. I have his chat. His chat room. Wasn't one of yours. So I'll make sure I get in touch with him. Thank you, boss man.
For the rest of our,
Do you want to do a promo for tomorrow?
Oh
or-
shoot, yeah. Let me get. You know what? Can I do the raw audio and I'll just send it to you in the chat room?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah, and I'm gonna send you a link. It's like an long mix, but it's a DJ that was actually opening up for Pink.
Get your sunscreen.
And what's like, I texted Matt actually back here during the show. I'm like, dude, just mix like Bruce Springsteen with DMX, and it was flipping amazing.
No way.
Like, it's an hour-long set, so if you want to like throw it in the background while you're doing stuff, tonight or whenever, it's an awesome mix.
Oh yeah, I want to hear that.
Continues the high of 77.
Okay, all right. Let me do the I'm gonna do the audio and I'll forward it to you right now.
All right, no problem.
Thanks, man.
Around, but mainly early in the day, the high 76.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope I didn't bore you with that story, but unfortunately, the internet sometimes can take possession of the whole story, and I planned on sort of getting to the end of that. Okay, you guys be good. I appreciate you. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Labor Day, and I'm gonna get my wife out to her little birthday plans. I'll fill you in tomorrow. All right, be good to each other.